Hello, welcome everybody to the Risen Divine League. We have ourselves a fantastic Tuesday matchup. I hope you're all excited. You're just jamming out, listening to these cool tunes. And we've got some cool people to go alongside these cool tunes. My name is Bonfire. I'm joined alongside Gordo and Goferino. Guys, we've got ourselves a three-desk setup at the moment. Obviously, Slayer couldn't make it, but I think we can handle things. How's your days been going?
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. It's a long work day before these Risen
Yeah,
streams, but hyped to be on for
especially when
some
you have
Risen
2
Divine
hours of
League.
commuting, dude. Oh,
Ooh, all right. Yeah, I'm not in that boat quite yet, but I
yeah.
get to stay home at least, hopefully for forever. But
I mean, I gotta work mostly from home, but when I don't,
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm sure everyone watching can sympathize with the commuting. If you've had a long day, grab yourself a nice cup of hot cocoa. I know it's cold where I'm at, and I figure around the globe it's probably the same in most places. So cuddle up underneath the blanket. We've got ourselves a good matchup between PIM and TDKR, or TDKO, excuse me. It should be a good matchup. And Gordo, obviously one of these teams 3-0, the other 1-2, kind of a disparity in record, but think it's going to be as easy as a lot of people are making it up to be.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. TDKO, they're 3-0, but they've dropped some games on their journey to get there, and of course have not played against Primal Instinct Masters quite yet. But yeah, they do definitely come in as a favorite. These TDK teams, they've been running the Risen Divine League so far this split, and TDKO is going to look to put another one on the board here. A 4-0 start to the season, that locks you to playoffs easily, and is going to be great momentum building up towards these playoffs in a couple more weeks.
Yeah, with playoffs coming up, every single win is necessary, and for 1 and 2 PIM, Go Farino, it is important that they
Yeah.
get this win to reset their season.
Yeah. Um. Oh. Okay. I thought someone was yelling at me. My mic was quiet. It is very important. A little bit do or die. There's like technicalities, and it's like yes, you can win like literally every match after tonight if you do have the L in the series and go 1-3. But it
Mhm.
is kind of that time where you got to buckle up and say, all right, let's take some dubs home. Bring it home. No more L's. Well, you can take one L per series, but you got to take two dubs for the big dub.
Yeah, I mean, it's all mathematical, right? You win 2 out of 3 and you're already putting yourself into a good position. So
Yeah.
PIM just needs to hit the books and crunch the numbers, I suppose. But it should be a fantastic match as we start to get ready for draft. It gives us some time to kind of talk about the current meta with some of these new patches coming out. It's always important to break down what's big and what's not. And I think one of the big things that we're looking at is the bot lane. Gordo, kind of walk me through what some of these priority picks might be in this series.
Yeah, I mean, the Lucian Nami's still going to be a kind of cream of the crop there, especially over here in the Masters Leagues. Both teams have been putting in some time onto that Lucian Nami duo. I could definitely see some Nami games in the histories of both supports here. And with that post Yumi nerf, you might hope that you get to see a little bit less Zeri in the meta, but there is still plenty of Zeri to be going around, as well as, some of the really spicy support picks really starting to come out here. Those marksmen in the support role, a lot of teams prioritizing the Ash super highly. And if you're willing to get a little bit more bold with it, you can also see some of those fancier picks, the Callista, the Caitlyn. We saw a Varus support in NACL this past week. All sorts of stuff can show up if you're willing to be a little bit more bold with your choices down there.
Yeah, the bot lane kind of going in a whole lot of different directions, like you highlighted. In the top side, there's a very obvious pick. His name starts with a J, it's 3 letters, ends with an X. Jax just absolutely terrorizing the top side. But Gofrino, I want you to talk about some of the counter picks because with the Jax, feels a lot like Worlds when the Aatrox was big. Do you just ban it out, or do you think every team kind of has a strategy to go against the famed top laner?
Um, Banning is basically always the safest bet unless you're really confident. I can't name Jack's counters off my head because it has been a bit. But you can opt for skill matchups like the Fiora, I believe, is a skill matchup. If you're able to get that riposte down, you're able to trade blows pretty damn well with that Jax. There are more neutralizing matchups, like if you go with a Malphite, you can just drop that big slow. Thing is though, with the Jax, like you kind of just scale to become a monster no matter what. So it is always just that ticking time bomb factor in that side lane.
Yeah, side lane could be a huge threat. You see a lot of side lane champions like Rise as well coming to prominence. Uh, I think also a big debate right now, and Gordon, I'm going to throw this one over to you because I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. It's the early game versus the late game, scaling versus getting that snowball effect. Where do you stand on this long heated debate?
I think in the meta right now, if you can execute consistently on the early game strategies, diving is so powerful, and the Elise, especially, is a champion that I keep a close eye on as it's been starting to enter back into the meta. I think that that's one of the most powerful strategies you can go for right now. But, looking at the champion pools of these junglers, it really feels like these teams tonight might look to go for a little bit more scaling. Cross has been playing a whole bunch of the Amumu, and Captor are really a big fan of some of these scaling picks as well. The Graves and the Viego have been such huge picks for him throughout this season so far, and I expect to see a lot of priority around those ones as well. So might see who ends up prioritizing some of those heavier scaling picks and who can, kind of get themselves a little bit more ammo coming into the late game.
Well, there's only really one way to do it, and that's just to kind of see how these teams adapt to this meta. I'm going to throw you guys over to draft. Hopefully, you're not gone for too long. I get lonely by myself, but come join me back when it's over, and I think we can all kind of break down this draft. So have fun, enjoy, gentlemen, and I'll see you in a few.
Toodles.
Thank you very much, Bonfire, as we are getting into draft for game one of Team Death Knight's Obsidian taking on Primal Instinct Masters. Looks like the 3-0 squad will be taking the blue side for game number one. We'll have the opportunity to lock in their choice first off.
Yep, and we'll see what they prioritize. We were talking about the Jax. Another big pick in the meta is that Cassante. Um, we could also just see a very heavy mirror to pro play where it's like you just highly prioritize one of your bot lane picks first because the bot lane meta has been a little centralized, as we kind of pointed out. Yes, there has been a lot of flexibility, but like it's usually different flavors of the same thing. Like, is it the Lulu? Is it the Janna? Versus if it's an AD carry support, is it like the Caitlyn or the Ashe? Yada yada yada. Um, we are seeing some of the power picks being taken off the board. Interestingly, though, no Nami ban. If we do still want to see the prio on that Lucian Nami, he can do the classic pick the Nami here and opt into the Lucian later if it is still open.
Yeah, very little focus on the bot lane, actually. The Lucian Nami duo is up, the Varus Ashe duo is up as well. Only Caitlyn really being targeted out of this list. Obviously, the Zeri and whatever selections you want to go with her. Zeri Lulu is the classic one here. But instead, TDKO, they know what they want to prioritize. They lock in this Yone. This has been the most played this season for Sora, and they want to make sure that they're able to get him that priority pick.
And that is interesting because it is a flex pick technically. We have seen it top, we have seen it mid. It does mean though that whatever bot lane the side of Primal Instinct Masters wants to lock in is up for grabs. We see that Karma lock in. I would not be surprised if we see that paired with a bit of a long range AD carry. No, it's going to be paired with the Udi here. That's a little interesting because we haven't really been seeing the Udi here. I know from the LS patch note breakdowns, he keeps saying like, Udyr is literally broken, guys. Why are people not picking him? Maybe we'll see why he's saying that tonight.
He is a three-way flex as well, if you're willing to be bold enough with it. The jungle Udyr is what everybody considers to be the cream of the crop, but we've definitely seen some of those Phoenix Max Udyrs looking to just shove and roam from the mid lane, or even holding it down in the top lane in a couple of leagues, even higher up than the Risen Divine League. We'll see what they end up pairing with that Karma, but back over to the side of TDKO, they are going to lock in this Varus, and I've got to expect to see an Ashe coming alongside of it. That's really a tried and true duo.
Yeah, you got the double arrows, you got the double CC ultimates. It's also going to give you very nice range in lane. It's going to give you that push advantage too. One of the big reasons why 80 carry supports are really favored is the fact that you get that really good push advantage level 1. If you take Hail of Blades, you're able to outtrade them. If not, you just have that natural range advantage, and you're really able to just go through the minions, hit that level 2 first, establish prio in lane, which opens up a lot of things for your jungler, whether it's to gank, whether it's just to farm mid, or look for early dragons, who knows. But the Sivir gotta at least be able to counter some of the poke with her wave clear.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if it's the value of the spell shield up against, the likes of Ash Varus and the lockdown that they present, or if it's just the desire to go for a little bit more scaling. I really would have expected Leo to go for the Ash here, or sorry, the Ezreal here. It's a really good duo along with the Karma, and it's one that he plays a whole bunch of, but they go for the Sivir at this angle, decide that they want to make sure they're going to have access to that late game team fight potential and the speed boosts to go into this Udyr. He's going to be a fast man.
Because keep in mind, like Sivir's spell shield, it is an insanely great get out of jail free card, but it is one time use. And you gotta do it for both the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Chains of Corruption. So I don't know how you're gonna make one spell shield work for both of them. I've seen better magic tricks. Maybe we'll see that happen tonight. Who knows?
Maybe really looking to pinch this jungle pool. There's that Elise we talked about, as well as the Lilia. So really trying to take these AP junglers off the table for capture now that he's got to be forced into the second phase of picks. Him now going to have to go into a solo lane unless that Udyr is going to get flexed around. Seraphine and Udyr banned away by TDKO. See if they want to take themselves a blind top laner here.
Yeah, maybe they go for the mid here, and okay. It is just going to be the blind croc in the top. Granted, it might not be blind if that is, of course, Yone top. Has yet to be seen. We will know after these picks, hopefully. Hopefully. Yep. But it does mean that this composition here from Primal Instincts Masters is very low range. I mean, Sivir has that 500 auto range. You got the 2 melees here in the top side. You're really going to be relying on your Sivir for a wave clear here, which might be a little bit of an issue with the range already drafted from the enemy bot lane. And now you have the Aatrox as well, who should be able to deal with an Udyr running into him, should be able to deal with Renekton and dashing onto him. We'll see.
Yeah, a little bit less popular of a top lane choice these days, but a classic for Akira Howe. Still his most played this season. He locks that one on in, and it is going to be the Talia looking to come in from the jungle here for Captor. So you can ban the Elise, you can ban the Lilia, you can ban the Sylas, you can ban the Maokai, but the AP jungler will show up
What are you
eventually
doing?
here for Captor, and he ends up going in for this Talia. Now, presumably a mid lane pick left to be selected for Pim, unless they're going to flex the Udyr over there. They know that they're facing off against this Yone from early on,
Yeah.
and it is going to be the Tristana.
So, it's interesting to say the least, because usually you see the Tristana into those controller artillery mages because you're able to just jump on them and they can't really do anything because they're not designed to be able to do much when you're in their face. Whereas Yone, like you jump into the Yone, he is more than happy to just start throwing out those Qs at you, throw out those Ws, and that makes things a lot more painful. You do have the range advantage, of course, and you should be able to push him in really well. But you can't really just go for those level 2 all-in cheeses as easily against this Yone.
Yeah, and gonna have to be careful against the Talia as well. You know, the rocket jump gives you a lot of range to dash away, but if you end up going up against those seismic shards, it's gonna be very tough. It's going to knock you out of the air. It's going to stun you, and it is going to set you up to potentially be followed on really effectively by that Yone. So we'll have to see how they're going to be able to try to exercise the range advantage they'll have for meals in the mid lane. They've definitely drafted to enable this Tristana, and they definitely have a good late game team fighting setup here. The double marksman coming through for both teams, but for Pim, they're both going to be farming. They're both going to be getting all of those items set up, and they're going to be able to rip through the only kind of pseudo front line presented by TDKO in the form of the Aatrox and the Yone.
Yeah. It does mean though that they can be pretty damn vulnerable here. You are relying for either your natural escapes with that rocket jump with the spell shield, or this karma. Granted, that is going to be a pretty decent measure if you are just against this sort of Aatrox Talia Yone just jumping on you kind of front line. Um, Not really having to worry about a Malphite to get on top of you. Not really having to worry about a Gragas just body slamming right on top of you. But it can be a concern if Team Death Knights is able to consistently get onto this backline here. It really, really just makes the fight that much more easier and should be a clear blowout for Team Death Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get Bonfire back in here and get his take on some of this draft, as looks to be a pretty exciting matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, transition,
Thanks, guys.
bonfire.
Appreciate it. I was starting to get a little lonely, so it's good to have some friends back alongside me. And you guys have done such a fantastic job. But I got to say, I wouldn't be a real host if I wasn't asking the tough questions. And so, Gordo, I'm going to put you on the desk first, on the bench first. I feel like you're on trial right here, but I have to ask you because right now, in terms of PIM, there is a very big lack of AP. Are you concerned at all that the Talia is really the brunt of all of their AP damage?
I think a little bit. There's at least somewhat of a concern for TDKO that the Talia is really the source of all of the AP coming through for them, especially up against, the likes of Renekton and Udyr. They present a really big, beefy front line. The PIM draft, they end up with a lot less AP, but it's less of a concern for them because the Aatrox is really the only kind of front line you've got there, and you don't expect that he's going to end up being the one drafting himself or building himself a whole bunch of armor.
Yeah, and I think you highlighted it perfectly because PIM, like I said, they don't have a ton of AP either, but Aatrox not really the tankiest of champions, just has himself a big sword and a lot of anger. Go Freno. Now I want to bring you forward, and I gotta, cross-examine you. The good judge Bonfire will hear you now. It's a good pick comp, and we've seen a lot of these in League of Legends for TDKO. Do you think that they can try to make something happen early, or is this more of a late game thing that they're going to hope to scale up with the Varus and the Ash?
I mean, you're definitely looking for a lot of early game pick potential probably around level 6, maybe first dragon slash second dragon bot lane skirmishes, because you got the Talia, Varus, and Ashe to set you up really well. If there's a Yone in the area, you're able to follow up pretty well. You should be able to get kills, because I'm assuming this is going to be lethality Varus here, just to help you have some of that extra range. Maybe it is that on-hit Varus. Maybe it is. Either way, you will still have the Chain of Corruptions, which is really good. But I do agree that it's probably going to be a little bit more of an early game here for Team Death Knights, because you want to get the ball rolling here for the Varus, for the Yone, for the Aatrox.
All right, well, you guys both pass in my book. Not guilty. You guys did a great job of defending your clients, and I appreciate that. But we do have to go to the final hurdle right before we go to a quick break before the game itself, and that's just predicting who's going to win the whole damn thing. Both of these teams, we see it client side. We do have to wait out that break. But before we go to the break, before we get to that game, boys, I got to ask you, who are you taking to win this series? Gordo, I want to hear yours first.
I'm going for TDKO on this series. All in all, I can't argue with the 3-0 record. They've been able to come up pretty huge so far. I've seen Akira Howe in previous seasons. I think he's a very talented top laner. He's got himself his Aatrox this time. I want to see what he's got cooking for us.
Go, Farina, take it away.
I'm also thinking Team Death Knights here. I will give Primal Instinct Masters that they definitely do have a chance. It's just a small chance. And I think we are kind of all in agreement that, yeah, Team Death Knights Oblivion, definitely the favorites this series.
All right. Well, Team Death Knights Oblivion trying to live up to their name right now, be the Knights of Death and behead the monster that is Primal. I have to agree with you guys. I love a good underdog story, but I also love being right to the chagrin of Slayer, I'm sure. And so I'm really hoping that we can get a good matchup from both of these teams. But at the end of the day, you got to go with the higher seed. You got to go with the team that's got the better record. I got TDKO. And it could be even be a clean sweep if this game one doesn't go the way of PIM. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take a back seat. Fortunately, I get to hear you beautiful two-man cast, and so it's a bit of good and bad. We're gonna take a quick break, but when you see us next, it's gonna be these two casting game one of PIM versus TDKO. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where we have got Game 1 between Team Death Knights Obsidian and Primal Instinct Masters. Try to get themselves
Ooh, we
further
got a
up
little,
in the standings here.
got a little bit of a 5-man here in the bot. Doesn't look like it's gonna find anyone. Not gonna cost him too much, because it isn't gonna be spotted out here by Primal Instinct Masters. So it's not like they're gonna be able to do the normal things like, oh, they got 5 people coming in here through bot. That means their entire top side's open to, just drop a word and keep track of where they are. Not gonna be the case. I'm just, take a chill pill.
The Ashe Classic. I do want to call some attention to the Ghost on support Ashe here. This is an interesting setup coming through from Vital. Will definitely give him some sticking power in these later game fights. Will it necessarily give him the most value? I'm really curious to see.
Because, Kat, if we're able to look at secondary routes, because I forgot to look at vitals and champions, like if they do have the approach velocity, because typically you'll actually take the approach velocity on Ashe because it is just such cash money on you. You just naturally slow them, then you're able to stick to them
Yeah,
so
there
much
it
more
is.
easily. Oh, there we are. Yep, approach velocity. Little Risen taking over it a little bit. We see you, approach velocity.
For sure, for sure. And looks like Captor's going to be starting solo on his top side. Cross going to do the same thing. So opposite starts here for both of the junglers. See
Nice.
who's going to be influenced first.
Yep. Nice little level 1 there from Raul and Vital. You're not exactly looking for kills level 1 with this bot lane unless like there's some really grave overstep. Oh, okay, level 2 advantage.
Yeah, Meals hits level 2 first, gets exhausted, still should end up winning this trade up against Sora, but Sora's going to take the level 2, go for the Soul Unbound, finds himself a nice trade up against Emil, nearly takes him out there.
And that kind of goes back to what I was mentioning in Champions, like, because Yone is not exactly like a Xerath, okay? When you jump on a Xerath, the Xerath just kind of cries and goes, okay, you stack up that explosive shot on me. When you jump onto Sora's Yone, they're just more than happy to go like, okay, Q, Soul Unbound, all right, let's just keep following you, juice them up. And it's like, yeah, Meals doesn't use any summoners there and you get out the exhaust, but that was your time to shine. It was level 2 to level 1. Not able to get the juice on in, and it costs you heavily.
Definitely does here. Oh, going to be a nice early advantage for Sora, which is not what you would expect out of your Tristana mid-pick there, although Meals did get to hold on to the Ignite, so as an extra combat summoner coming in to these next engagements. Full clears completed for both junglers. Captor now at level 4, moving his way over towards the bottom side as we get a little screen freeze there as Albino Spino goes in for a big trade up against Akira Howe and chunks him down to below half HP.
I mean, that is the Aatrox for you. Can be a little bit vulnerable early on if you get jumped on because you don't have the same like explosive, just straight up healing power you do later in the game. Okay, it's just refreshing the overlay and stuff. Oh, are we going to cams?
We're going to the pause,
that's
baby. We've got the fat pause coming through here for game number 1. So
Okay.
somebody's struggling a little bit here. Somebody's taking themselves 5 to get everything sorted out. But we will be back into the game as soon as possible.
He's even warm that had to sit up. Well, stand. Oops. Yep, we will be getting back in as soon as we can. It's been very feisty back and forth so far. I mean, no blood on the rift, but like we saw that all in mid lane, we saw that all in top lane, and we saw some cheeky training in the bot lane. So I wouldn't be too surprised. We see some real blood dropping here in just a bit.
I hear League of Legends sounds in the background. That means we are back into the game here. Pause has been averted for the time being. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Cross here. He's up towards the top side. Albino Spino just got a good chunk onto Akira Howe. Did go for the recall, so is just coming back to lane with a call, not going to teleport back. So we are going to see some recalls coming through across the board.
And Albino Spino gets a nice recall off, because like you mentioned, doesn't have to use the teleport to get back to lane, but you're also able to get that early call, which is going to be nice. Going to give you that big cash out in the long run. Gonna give you some nice sustain when you go in for these trades because you do proc the healing passive twice with your Ruthless Predator. 3 times if it is empowered with Rage, but we'll see when that comes push to shove.
True, and we both know
True.
Renekton spends a whole bunch of time just gaining health back out of nowhere, so getting more ways to do that keeps leaning into your strengths all the more on top of the Call the Meek. Everything else you get to do to regen a whole bunch of health. Dominus does it as well. Now Sora just getting pushed in this mid lane, going to keep himself pretty even in CS as a result of that favorable early trade he managed to take.
That's the big thing about the Tristan in the mid lane against this Yone, because you should still have push advantage. Yone does not have insane wave clear, able to kind of keep up with you because he also autos the lane a lot, but Sora has to go into melee range, does not have the explosive shot passive that Meals does that naturally pushes the lane. And curious if Meals is going to use this to look for roams, look for just jungle picks here, because he can use it for a mean 2v2 or 2v1 in the jungle. Okay, Captor. Covering in the side. Does not have the Weaver's Wall yet, though, so can't just magically hop in, does have to surf on in.
Yeah, for sure. Both these junglers kind of just been full clearing.
Sorry, my dog was trying to sniff my PC cables. I'm like, I kind of don't want my dog to unplug my PC.
Oh, that would be a Risen classic. Just losing a caster mid game to a dog chewing my Ethernet cable. But here comes Captor. Looking into the bottom lane onto Leo. He still does have access to that spell shield, but isn't even going to be enough. The slows from the Ashe. Vital utilizing that ghost, keeping the slows on, chasing him down, and picking up first blood for himself. Captor now raining in a little bit of damage onto Valentis, but that's going to be first blood for TDKO in the bottom lane.
First blood. It is picked up by the support Ashe, though, for Vital. So maybe would have liked that on Raul or Captor, but you still do take it because you are stopping the scaling of the server. You are getting some extra gold on your carries as well. See what they can translate this into, because we are going to have level 6 somewhat soonish here for rules virus, so you can look for that again. The cleanse is up though for Leo, so you are going to need a little bit of layering.
And right into the serrated Dirk for Vital's Ashe as well, so gonna have that extra poke damage as he works his way towards what's probably Umbral Glaive. It's always Umbral Glaive, as moving back into the bottom lane and just going to be a little bit stronger for it as items actually stay pretty close between the two ADCs.
That is the assist for you. Oh, World Ender popped. Gonna force out the flash though.
Yeah, Captor with his second gank, once again, can't get his name on any kills, but is successful in both efforts. Gets his bot lane the first blood on the first one, and now gets the flash out of Albino Spino on the second. This is going to really give Akira House some breathing room, as he's been getting bullied in this top lane for a lot of the game, but it is an opportunity for Cross to start up the dragon.
Yep, and that chem tech. Gotta be nice and appreciated. A little bit of extra stats. They weren't able to follow up with the dive in top lane, because even though Albino does not have the flash up, does have the Dominus, and turns out a massive like 150 health steroid at this point of the game makes 8-minute dives a lot harder. Who'da thunk? Who'da knew? Dr. Seuss.
They're getting even harder next patch, as we were discussing in the pregame. They're going to up that turret damage. But Renekton, he doesn't even need that help. He can keep himself safe up against Captor's potential dives, especially when you don't have any way of breaking the aggro here. No Elise or anything in this game. That one got banned out earlier. Dora looking for the trade onto Meals, but he can just rocket jump his way to safety. His Cross continues to just clear out his camps and move up towards the top side. He's building himself a solid lead due to the time the Captors spent ganking.
It was a little expected too. I mean, Cross does kind of just looking to play the farm game here. If they do gank, it's gonna be mostly in the top where you have Albino Spino. You drop the Ruthless Predator, you get the stun, you get another stun from the Bear Stancer. It's not Bear Stance anymore. It's
Ram,
yeah. I don't know. After like over 10 years of calling it Bear Stance, it just doesn't feel right.
I know.
But hey.
Yeah, the real struggle is that Bear is still a stance. It's just like the new Tiger stance. So.
Oh, God. What you say? Yeah, so a little bit of back and forth here across the rift. No objectives to pick up right now. Herald was slain, picked up by Captor in that top side. So got me looking to drop that one on down while plates are still up. They keep up their ganking habits, Gordo. It should work out here in the next few minutes or so. You know, you just got to make it work, and it should be even easier now that you have that Weaver's Well. Oh,
Ooh.
got it.
Cross pays a visit to the bottom river, just snags away the Scuttle Crab for himself, keeps his lead maintained over Captor. He's up 22 CS in this matchup, so definitely working on getting the Udyr super far ahead. Going for this kind of AP-centric build as well, going to be getting that Demonic Embrace early on. Sora trading up against Meals. Pretty even trade all in all, and now Meals still with the Summoners, still with the opportunity to go in with the ultimate. Could see a little bit of a fight breaking out in mid here as Cross and Valentis are coming up, speeding up that Udyr. Dive in from Meals, but Sora is just far enough away to get out to safety. He'll be just fine.
Yep, doesn't even have to use the flash, doesn't even have to use the fate sealed, so gets out of that one just fine and has enough health to stay here. No. Looking for a potential dive bot here. You can Weaver's Wall. You'll pin Leo against the wall here. They do have cleanse though for both the big arrow ultimates, so maybe a little bit dicey with how squishy all three of those characters are. Okay.
Dive in from Meals, but the exhaust, the seismic shove, it all comes out at the same time, and Captor picks up his first kill of the game. Meals punished for the aggression for the second time this game, and is now going to be behind up against Sora.
That was a little bit of a head scratcher. Not seen here. Okay. Ghost.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. You can't get over walls as the Udyr. You don't opt into the flash. So Sora just gets to flash over the wall and he's out of there.
That's why you take Hex Flash. Okay, Weaver's Wall coming on out.
Ooh, Captor, nice job blocking off the escape route for Albino Spino there. He can't dash out with the slice and dice, and so he's going to go down to Akira Howe. 3-0 for TDK.
3-0. They still have the Herald in their back pocket. Not opting into it just quite yet. Wave not in the best spot, and there was also Cross on the top side. But hey, you now have this Luden's Echo completed here for Kuiper. The first mythic in the game, I believe. I was not keeping track if Raoul finished their shield bow first. That was pretty close. Either way, you got two mythics. The enemy team has none. There's a dragon coming up in less than a minute. So that's a big power spike difference.
Sure here, Captor making an appearance towards mid as well, just trying to make sure that Sora is going to be kept safe, as he knows there's multiple members that have been hovering around this mid lane, including Valentis.
Walking in, dog.
Yeah, and a substantial gold lead built out here. Cross gets his recall interrupted by Akira as more turret plates start falling, and it's just all coming up TDK across the map. Meals dropping pretty low. There's the enchanted crystal arrow across the map. Flash in from Captor, and he can clean that one up. The stun lasts so long, and Valentis has to hide back out under the turret.
And that should be Dragon as well as a lot of plates here. That is a classic Ashe trick that I always preach. Whenever you recall, your ulti's up and your mid laner's able to get a kill, just let them know, like, hey, if I throw an ulti down mid, will you be able to kill them? That's the solo queue strat. But you're on comp, so you just say, hey, I'm going to throw my ulti down mid. You get their ass when it lands. You get their ass, they do. Going to be able to even up the dragons here further themselves to almost a 4,000 gold lead. Team Death Knights in a nice position.
Yeah, absolutely here. Basically winning in every lane at this point. You know, Akira still finding himself pushed in some of these one-on-one skirmishes, but has the gold advantage for himself, and then big leads in mid and bot as a result of these successful ganks and all the turret plates they've cashed in on.
And Mia just kind of begs the question of why... Okay, Meals. For some reason it looked like a T. Why Meals opted into this Tristana last pick when you saw the Yone and knew where it was going? Because we've seen the aggression try and come back. It has not been working out, to say the least. You're 0-2 now. And you had the option to get a counter pick, but just not really working out here. Really making me question.
Some of it is the exhaust has definitely come in clutch here for Sora, you know, being able to halt some of that early aggression and turn it back around on him. But yeah, for sure, you would think you would need Cross to be able to find angles to come in and gank here to really set this Tristana ahead and really utilize the range and push advantage that Tristana brings to the table. And so far, they just haven't been able to do that. We're all in Vital now with some alone time with this turret. They're just going to pick up first turret here if they're left alone.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. That plating things is new. 1,000 golden plates alone here for Team Death Knights. And they also get first turret. That's a big swing. It's not all doom and gloom here. Primal Instinct Masters, they do still have a chance to stabilize this game and let their backline scale, but they do have to go not only into damage control here, Gordo, but also into a bit of just game control here, because you got to get a bit of a dub across the map. Is this the dub?
Flash in from Albino Spino. Nicely played there. Gets in with the Ruthless Predator. Holds Akira under turret. Akira forced to flash in response. So just going to be a trade of those abilities on the top side. Captor now going to look to start up this Rift Herald anyways. There's a brawl in the bottom lane too. Sora, 1 versus 2, trying to fight this out. Still goes back in. Has the Fate Seal trying to take out Leo. But it is going to be the exhaust from Valentis to turn it back around. Going to keep him alive and going to end up taking out Sora.
But it costs you your mid turret. If you're able to trade even in turrets here and pick up the bottom one, I'd argue, okay, that's pretty good. But you don't. And you're losing more control of this map, which is a real feels bad man here for Primal Instinct Masters. But they do get some gold onto this Tristana. They get some gold onto Leo Sivir as well, so I like what they're going for, Gordo. They just need to get more of it when they do it next time.
Yeah, and that also definitely, you know, they were at a risky position there for those couple of minutes as everybody on TDK was on their first item, but nobody on PIM had theirs yet other than Cross. So really could have been a disastrous fight if it ended up breaking out. You know, that's a lot of the reason that Sora was nearly able to take that fight 1 versus 2. So now kind of getting themselves over that hump. They've got their first item complete as well, so they aren't feeling the gold deficit of 4K quite as much.
Yeah. You got the next dragon in a minute though, so I'm gonna see a lot of things come to a head then. Because Primal Instinct Masters, they really just don't want to keep falling behind. If you're able to trade that dragon for a herald, or trade the herald for a dragon, that's honestly fine. Dragon would actually, no, probably herald's better here because you want that immediate influx of gold to even this out. You got the scaling advantage, so.
You're here, 45 seconds on this next dragon. Cross already looking to take control and at least pick up the Scuttle Crab. Will secure it for himself here. They've got their full squad down here, but they are here so early. Akira Howe is just working his way on the top lane turret. As a result, he's going to pick that one up for free.
Yep, and also has the teleport, so doesn't even have to walk down here. Can keep pushing this.
Ooh, Vital up pretty far here. Has the ghost and the flash, though. Does get him at least a little bit away. But meanwhile, the shutdown gets picked up on a Captor. Meals finds his angle. Albino Spino closes out his kill as well. And that's 2 for 0. 5 versus 3 on the map as the dragon spawns, and Pim has found their chance to get back into it.
And I don't know what happened in their pit there, but Captor just got blown up, so this is what I want to see from Primal Instinct Masters. You know, getting some key kills here. They're looking to get the dragon as well, secure themselves a little bit earlier of a power spike. And that's going to do a lot to just even out this game. Only within a little bit of a shouting distance now.
Yeah, definitely. They get themselves their second dragon. They're still down maybe about 3k gold, but definitely with a little bit more of a fighting chance here, especially with that gold into Meals, going to keep him back even with Sora.
Mm-hmm. And also just the hidden extra stats from the dragon, you know. Because the golden rule when it comes to dragons is like, early games love dragons because it lets them cheat out scaling that they otherwise wouldn't have had. And late game team comps love dragons because it lets them hit their late game power spikes a little bit sooner than if they didn't have them. So wins all around, but Primal Instinct Master's really gonna benefit from this with the double 80 carries.
Absolutely here, and just happy to be funneling gold to them wherever they can get them. Leo doing his best to stay up in farm here, having been set behind earlier in the game. And looks like Capture just gets forced to use second Rift Herald just randomly in this top lane, was probably going to time out shortly. They're going to try to escort it in towards the inner turret, but it's a lot of time that Pim knows this is coming in.
Yeah. Because it's going to have to take out a wave or two. You do got 2 people here. And Captor is not seen. If you're able to get that worked ground wombo combo, you will kill this Tristana. You won't kill this Udyr though, so yeah. Gonna be a bit of a rift
enhanced
flop.
ability used out of Cross here. Enchanted
Ooh,
Crystal
okay.
Arrow gets a field goal in between Meals and Cross. This Rift Herald still just getting busted down. Will end up dropping, but a nice stun on a Valentis. Chains of Corruption land as well, and that's just going to be a melted Karma. Sora picks up that kill. Meanwhile, in the side lane, Akira Howe sees his opportunity, interrupts the slice and dice, but still not quite going to be able to close out onto Albino Spino after the flash, but still, that's a flash for nothing out of the TDK top laner. And now a teleport towards top. They want to start off Dragon off this pick on the support.
Thing is, Cross is literally in the area. Does not have access to the blast cone though, so can't flash in or cone in to contest this.
Sora wants this, diving over onto Leo.
It is dropping, you gotta go in, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's gonna get smited down. That's a 20-minute Baron picked up for TDK, but Meals dives in, gets hit with the Fate sealed and shut down right away. Cross going to drop as well as they work their way through a 3-for-1 team fight for TDK plus the Baron, and they are right back in control.
Yeah, just like that. Right after we're saying like, okay, you know what, Primal Instincts Masters, they made some good schmoves, you know, bringing themselves back into the game here. Team Death Knights are like, all right, we got 1 pick in the top lane, we got a favorable trade in the bot lane. Let's just YOLO in and go for the Baron. It's like, it works out because there's no flash on the Udyr, so Cross has to go in the long way. And by the time they get into that pit, it's just too late. We saw Meals jump over and instantly die to that Fate Sealed. And Team Death Knights, what they're going to want to do with this Baron is really, really just blow this game open and make sure there's no chances for Primal Instinct Masters to scale back in.
Yeah, the dragon stacking plan with 2 dragons already in Pim's hands, probably not the one that you're going to want to go for, but they have such a substantial gold lead, and with this Baron at their backs, they can really just try to balloon that gold lead even higher and get themselves into a frankly insurmountable lead. Immediately they are just going to go for the 1-3-1 here and see who can they pull out of position, how many turrets can they take. See what that answer ends up being.
Yep, you got a minute till the dragon.
Double stun, oh my god, Captor just one-shots Leo. That damage was insane, and now flashing forward, trying to finish off Valentis as well, just throwing out a couple more stones. Meanwhile, a double kill, 3 versus 2 on the bottom side. Cross and Meals end up dropping, nearly taking out Sora, but once again, the Fate Seal does its job, and Akira going for a dive as well. In all 3 lanes, TDK, they just want blood. They're going to keep these fights going. Akira Howe going to just barely eke away with a sliver of HP, but 2 more inner turrets end up dropping on top of those kills.
Yeah, blink and you miss it, and 3 people just kind of drop here. But yeah, great one-shot by Captor. Has a metric buttload of just flat magic pen right now with the Ludens, with the Shadow Flame, with the Sork Boots. Yeah, Valentis, I don't think that no magic pen is really going to save you from those one-shots. And it is kind of looking like a bit of a done deal here. Team Death Knight should be taking this game, bar some mistake.
Sora, soul unbound over the wall, looking to chase down on Valentis. Doesn't have the ultimate, so can't finish the job, but we'll chunk out Valentis, and you know what? That's enough for them to start up the dragon. They're very confident in their gold lead here, and they'll just start these objectives as soon as they spawn.
Yeah, just get that. I don't think we're going to be seeing a soul with how this game is going, you know. It should be ending pretty soon, I feel. Maybe they'll have to wait for the next Baron here, because you are against double marksman, one of which is Leo as the Sivir. Kind of known for the wave clears, so maybe you have to wait it on out for that one. Maybe you're able to get some more picks like this, because...
wow. I mean, this Talia, substantial lead. There's Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Here comes Weaver's Wall, and Albino Spino, the tankiest member of Pim, is just gone, wiped off the map here. Doesn't even get the chance to fight back. And now with the 5v4 on the map, the Siege coming in through the bottom
They're
lane.
going.
TDK, they're still willing to brawl this out. Sora dashes in, fighting with Cross, just dashes back as soon as he needs to. Notice that this Udyr is probably the biggest threat on Pim. He's at least gotten to farm throughout this whole game, which is more than can be said for a lot of their members.
Yeah. And you can't one-shot the Zoodyr.
True.
Because there is, like, some health resistances.
Ooh,
Okay.
Again, another Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Just diving in, going for the poke damage. Raul and Akira How, they see a chance to take an inhib, and they're going to take it. Moving up forward, grouped up with the rest of the team. Inhib will drop here pretty soon. Sora waiting around in the wings, ready to dash over, go in for a huge fate sealed if needed, but just gets the poke, just dashes back, and is very happy with what they've accomplished.
Yeah, like... You cracked open the enemy base here. You got Baron in a minute 20. You should... Okay, stop some recalls. You should just be able to finish this one on off pretty damn soon. Thanks to that downed inhib in the top lane. And there's really no chance of Primal Instinct Masters coming back in this and hitting that scaling. Because you got a 0-3-2 Sivir. You got... Okay, you got 3 and 4 Tristana, but like you're only sitting on 2 items.
Go.
Hello, Enchanted Crystal.
There's your tactic again, go for Eno. Down the mid lane, Enchanted Crystal Arrow does not land this time around.
Yeah. Oh, that doesn't land either.
They might have an angle on the Cross here, though. Don't want to expend any ultimates, and so cannot lock the Udyr down.
Yep. A little slippery, that Udyr, even though it's just moose speed. But
Yeah.
hey, it's a lot of moose speed. It's a lot of moose speed.
He's sitting on the CC immunity, too, so, you know, if he gets to trade his passive for your ult, then always feels bad. Well, nobody wants to commit those abilities. Captor, though, still waiting around, hoping somebody face checks him again, like Leo did earlier. He's found a lot of success that way, but just going for the poke damage up against Cross, he really doesn't fear anybody as long as he's got the vision to know he's not getting flanked.
And Baron just immediately started up here. No blast cone once again for Cross, so just gonna have to pop the ghost and go the long way. Doesn't even opt for that. This Baron's dead. No attempt at the steal from the Karma Mantra Q because it just died that fast.
Yeah, Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out again. Doesn't look like it's gonna land, and it doesn't. Albino Spino stays alive to try to defend against this Baron push. Going in up against Akira How here. What can he find? Captor arrives with the Weaver's Wall, immediately just throws it down. He can make sure that this siege goes on. There's a 2-man knockup from Sora. Doesn't commit the Fate Sealed. Valentis is getting focused down on the backside, but they are marching forward onto the squishy members of TDK.
Yeah, they got
melt
one.
through Raul right away. And now Captor, he's got to be careful as well. Tries to flash away, but Meals is falling so low, and Sora is just fighting it all out up against this Udyr. There's going to be the ace, a quadra kill picked up for Captor, and it's a 1-for-5 ace for TDK. They are going to be able to close this game out here and now. Took a little bit longer than one might expect, but a very clean performance here from the 3-0 squad.
And Primal Instinct Masters, to their benefit, that was probably as good of an engagement start of a fight as they were going to get at this point, but it was a done deal. Team Death Knights, they were able to get that early game lead, able to keep it snowballing, and just take it to this 28-minute dub.
Yeah. Very clean game there out of TDK. See if we can bring Bonfire back in here for some post-game analysis. How's it going, Bonfire? You're muted, my guy.
Mute.
Yeah. You know, sometimes we forget. I was just gonna say the movie magic got me out of my suit into some more comfortable clothing, and I'll tell you what, that was a comfortable win for TDKO. I'm a little concerned though with all these new Twitch restrictions and bans. Can we show that on Twitch? Is Risen gonna get in trouble for that much of a smattering? Because, man, that one felt rough.
Yeah. Like, there were definitely some shots there for Primal Instinct Masters. We saw a bit of that comeback in the mid-game around that third dragon. They were able to even things out, but then right after that, things went completely south.
Yeah, I think South is the best way to put it. And go Farino, you've done such a good job of explaining how this game ended up the way it was that I want you to take the first replay as soon as we can get it pulled up of just kind of how this game went all the way from the beginning because it really felt like the lockup and the perfect plays, the cross map communication was really rearing from the get go. So hopefully we can pull that up in half a second. It was an Ash arrow, it was a Yone kill, it was beautiful, but while we wait on that, I do have to ask you guys, are we feeling any different about our predictions? Because I want to say I said 2-0. I'm feeling great. You guys were a little less confident. I don't want to rub it in your faces, but man, TDKO, Gordo, that was a big win for them.
Yeah, they're halfway there. I think what's really concerning if you're Primal Instinct Masters here is that you dedicated like 3 to 4 bans towards captures like AP junglers. Depends on whether or not you count Silas as an actual risk for something capture might pick. And he still just picks Talia and has a huge pop-off game there. Ends up 8-1 and some amount of assists in there. And really was hugely influential. But here's that replay you were talking about.
Yeah, and it kind of just starts off with a lot of aggression here. Well, okay, not a lot of aggression on this freeze frame. There we go. Because that initial roam did not work out, and we see so much health just taken off of Meals here, and this takes one arrow. Waiting for it. It's coming out. Oh, it hasn't come out yet, but you see how much damage has come down, and able to thread the needle. You are against that wall, so you can't really outrun it. We see them trying to do their best here, but Meal still drops. Still drops.
Yeah, I feel like so much we talked about Vital just throwing out those arrows throughout all of these fights, and it felt like that was the story of the early game. There was no really big play. I was struggling to find replays to go back to because it was just a slow buildup for the side of TDKO. There was no big plays that got them the lead. It was just beautiful precision gameplay, and that one highlighted. Go for you said it perfectly. It's just bad trading into a great arrow, and then just finish off what you started. So really good lead up for TDKO. They almost threw it at a dragon pit, like you guys highlighted, but Gordo, I'll throw this one to you. This Baron take, it really felt like after they got this and the team fight, that the rest of the game was just going to be laid out like a red carpet for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they did a great job being able to secure all of these objectives. Here comes the Baron play. This is the Rift Herald that they actually threw down way back in top lane and just escorted all the way there. It does get finished off by Pim, but it's at great cost here. They get this big pick onto Valentis, and from there, they have the numbers advantage. They know that they are not likely to have any kind of actual risk to them here. They have the TP advantage as well, and so they utilize that to turn this into a 5 versus 3 for the Baron. And from there, it's just so dangerous for Cross to walk in. He's just going to be tanking 5 members the second he steps up. They're waiting a little bit longer for Meals to show up. After the Baron goes down, they try to take this fight, seeing that Sora is low, but they're ready for Meals here. They jump right on top of him. They one-shot him, and from there, it's an easy fight win on top of the Baron buff.
Yeah, absolutely destroying PIM inside of the Baron pit, and that Baron led them to so many more turrets. They were able to get so much more standing gold on the map. The kills also helped a little bit, I'd imagine, and you said it perfectly. A 4v5, you're never really going to lose that, especially with the lead that they had acquired. Looked like a little bit of an interesting Baron pick. I heard you guys kind of talking about how it was a bit of a trigger pull, this early, especially that the fact that the gold lead, I think, was only around 3,000 at that point, and so a little dangerous, but they get the lead. And then we got to go to the very end of the game as soon as we can pull that up. The ace that secured themselves the win. We got it right here. I'll break this one down. And I'm just going to say that this was a very, very just clean win all across the board. Capture. It's the first missed arrow, but they get the flash out of Albino Spino, and so the Croc is just very difficult to play at this point. They go for a good engage, and I think you guys highlighted it perfectly that this is kind of the best they could do. But look at that exhaust; it got so much use onto Meals right there. A missed ult from Sora. Again, it looked bad for quite a bit. They lose their AD carry at the beginning of it. Everyone's flashing, but Sora gets ignored, and then on the backside you've got the Aatrox, and sometimes the pockets are just a little bit too heavy. And then you guys have talked about it perfectly. Capture did such a fantastic job. The damage that he pushed out, a 4 quadra kill right there, secured them the win. So Pretty handy Team Death Knight's Obsidian victory right there, but we're going to take it to a quick break. And when we come back, I think PIM's going to see if they have anything to say about that. If they want to extend this series at all, they're going to have to hit the drawing board and see what they can do. We'll be back in a sec.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where TDK Obsidian is taking on Primal Instinct Masters. TDK now up 1-0 in this series. Let's see if we can get this draft on our streams here, because it looks
Yeah, we'll
like
see
Draft Law is giving us a rough time.
Oh, yeah. At least it's better than Pro Draft. I remember those days. I wonder what happened to Pro Draft. Everybody just kind of dropped using it. For good reason. For good reason. I don't know if it's still used or anything, but sitting here looking at some blank screens. But speaking of draft, I know I was very vocal of my concerns during the break. Like, Primal Instinct Masters.
Oh, we're back.
Maybe...
Draft Law's working again. If
okay.
if you can hear me, Caddy, refresh your Draft Law. It works now. So we'll be getting into this one pretty soon. As soon as, the players probably have to have that communicated to them as well. It's always always a rough time when Cloudflare. Ah, there we go. You see that, everybody? That was a refresh right there. We just got to wait for the players to do the same.
Alright, that was playing outside. We should be getting into this. Just a jiffy. Not to be confused with Popcorn Brand.
Haha, there it is. We are getting into the draft here, and we're going to run back that Sejuani ban.
Makes sense. I mean, we've just been seeing so much Sejuani lately. Synergizes really well with the Radiant Virtue. And overall, pretty decent pick on her own.
So far, keeping these same bans. The Caitlyn going to get taken off the board as well. I want to see if Pim tries to pivot their bans a little bit more here and tries to target something other than the jungle, because it does appear like the pool runs pretty deep here for Captor, and he was able to perform pretty well. But they're keeping that Maokai ban, so at the very least, that one's not going to change. Trundle stays, Syndra stays. Might we get the Salty run back? We do not. The Yone ban is what is going to close it out here.
Yep, so that's at least different. Let's see what Team Death Knights want to prioritize in the first slot again. Because first picking Yone B1 can be punished. We didn't see it last game. Are they going to opt into maybe more general power pick here? It's going to be the Rise. Okay. Still pretty decent power pick. Functions pretty damn well into a lot of the mages in the mid lane right now. You're just able to kind of outscale and outshove. Do we see the Cassidy into that? A champion that can match the scaling and kind of match the roaming?
We might. It's definitely an option, although, yeah, the roaming advantage for the Rise does make that kind of rough for Cassidon, but we'll see how it ends up working out. The Ashe going to be locked in for Pim once again here, this time taking that one away from TDK, and they're going to take the Jace, so it looks like, might that be their counter pick to the Rise? Could see Jace mid has been making a little bit more of a reappearance as of late.
Yeah, I saw that too in some post-match threads. I did not see it in game though, because I believe it was in the LCK. That kind of happens when I'm taking a bit of a snooze. But Ashe and Mumu locked in here, so that might be a Mumu support that has been making some waves as well. It will let you get on top of and lock down both the Varus and Karn in this bot lane very, very easily. We'll have to see.
It's a champ that cross plays a lot of as well, so it might be a Mumu coming out of the jungle here. I love the Sylas ban after having locked in the Amumu. You definitely do not want to be playing Amumu into the Sylas. That gets obnoxious real quick. But he gets to steal away Curse of the Sad Mummy. Probably one of the best ultimates to steal for Sylas. Do not want to give the other team access to that tool. AP ratio is crazy. Sylas has the mobility to get into the middle of your team. It's not what you want when you're playing the Amumu. Now, going to be the Camille ban away. Misfortune and Olaf hit the ban list for the side of TDK. Time to get the rest of our bot lane rounded out.
It is the bot lane though, because we might already have the Amumu in the bot lane. We'll see with this pick potentially. You don't typically see jungle counter picks unless you have like a superstar jungler on your team, and that usually does not happen. Okay, so it's gonna be the Amumu jungle. You got that Ezreal. You mentioned it last game, Gordo. You were surprised that you didn't see the Ezreal come out because it has the range to kind of compete with the Varus plus range support. You have that Arcane Shift, which lets you get out of those chains of corruptions very easily. So
absolutely. So Casante gonna be the lock in for Akira. So taking off his beloved Aatrox, he's gonna end up going in for some of the new hotness here. Casante gets locked on in and now to round it out with a jungler for Captor. Few less bans directed his way this time around. Only the Maokai taken off the board. Looking for the Vi here. Try to lock down that very mobile Ezreal.
Yeah, arcane shift all you want. That cease and desist will catch up to you eventually. It's gonna be the round out here for this composition though, because you got this beefy Cassante to get through, and you don't really have the best measures to do that. Okay, Mordekaiser is definitely one way because the Cassante tries to get up in your face. You're more than happy. You're able to get the burn damage on down. You're able to get that isolated mace damage on down. So you're able to pack quite the wall up when this Cassante jumps on you, and you do a fair amount of percentage health.
Yeah, absolutely do here as Mordekaiser to round things out. It's an interesting counter pick into the Cassante. It's not one that we get to see a whole bunch of, but it's one that I can like see in my mind's eye, right? You know, you can throw down that ultimate after Cassante ults you. You get to steal a percentage of his stats, and we both know he gets crazy amounts of stats. I actually kind of curious. You kind of get different stats based on whether you cast Death Realm on the pre or post ult Cassante, whether he's all out or not determines whether you get more offensive stats or defensive stats. So fun little wrinkle there to the matchup. But let's bring back in Bonfire to talk about these matchups.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, guys. It's been a while since we've last spoken. You guys had an entire draft away from me. I
Yep.
hope you missed me as much as I missed you. Was an interesting draft across the board. PIM. I'm not going with a lot of the meta picks that I think we would both expect. Which do you think is less meta right now, a Mumu jungle or Mordekaiser top, Gordo?
I really think Mordekaiser top is the one that I haven't seen a game of in NACL. So I think I
All right.
kind of have to give it over there, but I don't know. Like the Amumu Jungle has not been a pick that people have gone for regularly in like years. So I think Amumu has to eke it out a little bit there, but you know, it's a daily occurrence for Mr. Cross though. He's a big Amumu player, so excited to see what he's going to be able to show us on his main champion.
All right, all right. And across the board, PIM also getting themselves the Jace mid, actually highly prioritizing it with the second pick on their draft. Go for Reno. Is the Jace mid the reason that they don't have to be concerned about this second game, or is that the reason that they should be concerned? Is this a mispick for them?
Um, so the Jace works pretty well with the bot lane they drafted. You have that Ezreal, you have that Ashe, that is going to be a lot of poke coming out, and you combine that with the Jace, that's even more poke. It doesn't fit in the best here with the Amumu plus Mordekaiser. Not so much poke champions themselves. I can see the Mordekaiser here to yoink anyone out, diving your back line. But I can see why they picked it here. You want to smash that mid lane. Sora had a bit of a easy breeze last game. Just take the exhaust. Every time the Tristana jumps on you from Meals, you pop that, you're able to win the trade.
All right, so we've got some good trading. Honestly, the Sora versus Meals minigame in the mid lane was what kept me going back and forth to my popcorn, and we've got ourselves another spicy one. So I am excited for that. Across the board, we've got some more interesting picks as well. The Vi being picked up for Captor, a real change of pace from the Talia that we saw in the last game. A lot less damage, a lot more lockup, but we saw from Captor that he was ready to pull the trigger on a hairpin. So I'm very excited to see what he has to do there. Gordon, I'm going to go back to you. Akira Howe had a fantastic Aatrox game. Now, Cassante does have the tank capabilities, so you have to play a little more back, but is an incredibly strong champion right now. What do you expect to see on him with the most recent champion?
I expect it to be good into the Mordekaiser, and the reason for that is that I have not seen other people picking Mordekaiser as a counter pick, so I've got to assume that something breaks down here somewhere or other. The CC immunity when he goes for the grasp is definitely going to be a little bit of a problem. You're never going to get sucked in an unfavorable situation unless you've
Mhm.
wasted some of that CC immunity early on. I don't think it can block Death Realm at the very least, but still, Cassante with so much one-on-one power, I feel like he's got to be one of those champions that can maybe even still win the Death Realm duel. We'll see how that ends up working out here, but my money would be on Akira Howe in this one-on-one.
See, if we're just brainstorming myth bustering Cassante versus Mordekaiser, I've got a real qualm for you, Gordo. I'm gonna go back to you. Go, Freno. I promise I'll get back to you again. But Gordo, while we're talking about this, what if he unstoppables over a wall in the Death Realm? What happens then? What I ask you there?
He won't go through. He'll
You
stay.
won't
He'll
go
get
through?
stuck. He'll just stick. He'll sit there on one end that's in the death realm, but he'll like snap back afterwards. I'm almost entirely sure.
Do you think the ultimate still hits though? Do you think he still is in his unstoppable form?
Yeah,
Okay,
because
all
he doesn't
right.
have to
Well,
hit a wall to go into his
th-
unstoppable form. He can like just cast that straight up anywhere.
this is true. I'm excited to see that now. I want to see him hit a wall and then bonk his head and lay on the ground, just a little confused for a bit. So
I do
that is
want that.
something I hope to see. It'll be a lot of fun, won't it? We have our fun here, but I do actually, Gopher, want to come back to you because I do want to talk about that rise. It wasn't picked up in the first game, or yeah, in the first game. Second game, it's the first pick. Obviously, we've seen a lot of priority on the big purple man. I've personally been a big fan of the Rise Reddit. I'm not even going to ask about the champ. Have you been to the Rise Reddit? What do you think of the Rise Reddit?
I remember last year, it was certainly a place. It was a subreddit.
It's, it's one of the Reddits of all time, I've heard.
It was.
There are
It,
many posts there that I probably should not be talking about on stream. I'll refrain from talking about them, but a lot of Doom posting. But
Yeah.
now, since you kind of got rollback services back to the version where it gives you AP instead of haste, Rise making that huge comeback. That's why we even saw some nerfs, but still roaring pretty damn strong here because now you got all that extra mana scaling, you got a bunch of extra health from that Rod of Ages, and you're still able to just be that machine gun when it comes to wave clear and shredding through people.
All right. Well, Purple People Eater fans, the Rise Man himself, hopefully trying to grab himself a win, EQ himself to victory, if you will, alongside the rest of TDKO. Boys, I know we do our, match long predictions. We talk about how this entirety of everything will go, but I always have a little bit of fun. So, 3 words or less. I want to hear how you think this game is going to go. Go, Freno. I'm going to switch things up. I'm going to go back to you. What do you think? Three
TDK
words.
win, probably.
TDKO win. All right, I'll count that. I'll count that. Gordo, you're up next.
I'm gonna say Sora is everywhere.
Sora is everywhere. A specific player being called on. I like that as well. See, I'm the host, so I get to make the rules. I'm going to use a lot of words, and I'm going to say this is going to be a very good win for the side of TDKO. And I enjoy everybody in the chat. 3 words. Those are my 3 words if you really hyphenate them. Jokes aside, should be a fantastic match, and I'm going to send these two fellas on their great journey over to Summoner's Rift, and me personally, grab myself a Snuggie and get involved. This should be a fantastic match. Keep it tuned here because we are going to have it just a little bit.
I think
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where TDKO is taking on PIM, Primal Instinct Masters. We got Pickle Rise on the screen here for Sora. It's going to be the 5-man bot against the 5-man bot. Go for Eno. This is the fight we were hoping for.
Mamma
Game
mia.
one. Cross going to get spotted. The
Ooh,
pull
that's
in
a
on
big
everybody
yawn.
from Albino. Spino, first blood picked up for Valentis. Sora's going to be the next one. Cross gets himself a kill as well, and PIM are off to the races.
Zoom in on Rise because it's certain PNG on screen. Pickle Rise. Pickle Rise. Gonna be a dead Rise too. Got 6 tier stacks. Really terrible silver lining there, but hey.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, I mean, so in the lead for the first time this series, Primal Instinct Masters, they win out that level 1 trade. Albino Spino with the clutch level up on the Death Grasp there just pulls in everybody and rips that fight apart. Now has the advantage in the one-on-one, as do most of these lanes.
Yeah, you got a entire team 2-0 here, so everybody got some assist money in their pockets. Not everyone's coming back with advantages. Might just be a pot here. Might be some boots there. But it is gonna be felt.
Yeah, for sure here. And the summoner diff, not too crazy. Vital uses his heal. Sora uses his ghost. Albino Spino uses ghost. But other than that, not really a bunch of flashes blown on either side. Everybody knew, you know what, this is going to go how it goes, with no reason to put ourselves even farther behind, to leave ourselves vulnerable to future jungle ganks. So we'll still have access to those tools when Cross comes rolling up later. But Leo getting engaged on here, Vital. The level 1 Mantra Q gets plenty of damage there.
Able to at least get a lot back onto Raoul. This is the Pokeverse coming out this game with that Comet, so those piercing arrows definitely going to be hurting here, as we saw in that level 1, combine that with the Mantra Q. Hey. Okay. So there is no ward here. Look for the bandage toss, LU.
Gets the bandage toss, and Vital probably doesn't have anywhere to go. Does go for the flash, but he's still on the same side of the wall. Cross is going to be able to chase him down here.
Alley-oop.
That's another kill for the Amumu, baby. 2-0 start. Captor gets spotted by the Hawk shot, and Cross is going to get out of here.
That's not usually something you see, because everybody is like, oh, Amumu, you just counter jungle him. Well, ganking machine Amumu, baby.
He gets another one. Meal's going under the turret, but gets hit by the runic binding, and he goes down. Imprison from Sora picks him up a kill, and he gets himself on the board.
A little too hypey there, a little too hypey. I don't want to be feeding the Rise, especially after you made that Rise 0 and 1. Still, it is a definite lead here for Primal Instinct Masters. They're going to be feeling good about that, despite the one little oopsie daisy.
Yeah, for sure. And curious to see how Cross builds this Amumu. Goes for the early Demonic Embrace. You can deal some pretty solid damage there as well. Definitely be a fun one to keep our eye on here. He is off to the races early on here at the 2-0 start, getting himself Scuttle Crab as well. Maybe even going to pay a visit towards top.
We'll see. Because top is pushed in a good amount, and Kira how as this Cassante is extremely mobile. That's one of the big gripes about when it comes to Cassante and Pro. Like, you just have so much mobility for a tank that it can be really hard to just catch him out.
Yeah, definitely does here. How knows that he's on the back foot up against this Mordekaiser early on, and so is just gonna play things pretty chill. Now, with Captor coming up for a potential gank, though, can they make something happen? Really trying to bait Albino Spino into a bit of a fight, but it doesn't look like he's taking that bait.
Albino Spino, more than happy to just keep farming out. Look for the third key potential here, just a jiffy. No longer, though, is Captor in the area, so it is mono a mono, or I guess mono Death Knight. I don't know what Mordekaiser is after the update.
Team Death Knight's on the other side this time around at the very least, but
It's true.
He's that archetype for
Oh,
sure,
going
though.
for
There's
it.
going to be another engage coming in from Meals, but Sora with the range advantage. After all the cooldowns go out, Sora feels like he has
Oh,
the
but you got the
ability to
Mumu.
trade here. Flash out of Meals, but now here comes the Amumu Cross. He misses the first bandage toss, but he's got a second one, baby, and Cross is going to be able to go on a killing spree.
A little sussy though, because Sora was nearly able to pick up a kill for themselves here. So you're able to get that 1-for-0. 3-0 on this Mumu. I assume that's going to be the demonic embrace here first, just so you get all that extra juicy burn damage. Oh, okay. Just so you get all that extra juicy burn damage here. To shred through a decent amount of health on the enemy team, but also pack quite a punch to even the squishies, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Here does quite a bit. You can get rolling with it. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, some trades going back and forth. Rule managing to keep that damage out there on this poke Varus. Sora had an opportunity to take out Meals there, but was all a bait. Means that Cross continuing to kind of run away with this one. Really curious to see what he'll be able to do once he really cashes out and gets his early items completed.
Or that early level 6, I mean, you don't really need too much damage. Well, too many damage items here for a level 1 Curse of the Sad Mummy when you're snowballing like this to hurt. You know, it does a lot of damage, especially when you have this XP advantage.
And Captor been pretty effectively shut down on this buy. Made that look towards top where couldn't get Albino Spino to go in. Made a look towards mid, but it was a little bit too late. And it's had a pretty quiet early game so far on this Vi. Now looking around towards the bottom as the wave crashes in, but the wave's cleared out. Leo and Valentis, they are going to be perfectly safe.
Yep. It was spotted out. Thanks to that control ward being cleared, so just a little howdy-ho stranger. Meals in a bit of danger. There is no cease and desist, importantly. So you can't press the button and make sure Meals is gonna stay in one place.
You sure can here as Cross goes for the bandage toss on to his camps. He's just going to keep clearing things away. His Captor moving towards the top side, but again, no real opportunities for this Vi here. Kind of just going to have to chill. Rule interrupts the recall out of Leo, though. That's very useful in the bottom lane. Means they're going to get plenty of time to shove this wave under turret.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Leo's actually staying for this one. Thankfully, Raul is backing here, so you don't have to worry about getting jumped under turret, but this is a huge delay here.
Oh, but he interrupts the recall so that he can keep bullying Leo. Lands another piercing arrow. Now is going to push another wave. Leo's recall is delayed even further. I would love to see Captor move towards the bottom side here, as this would be a great opportunity to start up a dragon.
You do have Chain of Corruptions now, if you are feeling extra feisty as Raul. Or you can just look for this.
Oh, there's another piercing arrow, and that's the heal blown out of Valentis, as well as the flash forward from this Ash.
This should be a kill.
He's now going to get snared up, goes in for...
Oh no, it was a bait.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Cross has arrived, but he's going to get snared up by the Chains of Corruption, and it's going to be a back away, but that is both summoners blown from Valentis for the cleanse and the heal out of Raul and Vital.
So Cross is staying here. These health bars are pretty high. It would be a lone Mumu here. Yes, you are 3-0-1, but do you have enough burst to finish off 2 full health bars? I don't know. With that Vi being top lane, though, Captor does mean nice little Camtech Dragon pickup here. Or Pim.
Yeah, they should be able to get this one without too much trouble. It is in trade for the Rift Herald on top side that Captor was able to secure for himself, so evens up the gold a little bit more that way. Now, moving himself over towards the bottom side, we'll see if he's able to set up any good influx of gold from that Rift Herald.
Yeah, because that is the classic dilemma of Rift Herald versus Dragon when it comes to this early in. Oh, are we going back to that narrative point of your Ash? Yeah.
Yeah, and just dogpiling on Sora here. You know, I called Sora is everywhere earlier on. I thought it was going to be because of roams, but it's a little bit more because he's in pieces here, as Sora just continues to get ganked over and over again by Cross.
Yeah, I mean, you just ult mid, bro. It's so simple, dude. And rinse and repeat. Works out pretty well. It means you won't have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow here if you're trying anything in the bot lane. With how it is going bot, though, I don't think we're going to be seeing too much aggression here from Leo plus Valentis. Unless Cross is in the area. Speaking of Cross, they do finish the Demonic Embrace. That's a big power spike, so it's going to be a lot of damage here.
Yeah, Meals has the Eclipse stun as well, so this mid-jungle duo, very dangerous for the side of Primal Instinct Masters. Captor, it's got to be careful here going for this steal here. Cross arrives over the wall, goes for the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but doesn't land it. Crucial for Captor to dodge out on that one, or it certainly would have been a kill.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now focusing down on Avalantis. The dunk comes through from Captor off the back of the Chains of Corruption. Not even needed. The piercing arrow for the damage, and TDK gets another one on the board.
Yep, able to respond in kind there. Ghost popped in the top lane, though. Do we see the Death Realm come out? No. Just a lot of fancy feet here. No all out.
Ghost for Ghost. I think Albino Spino, he wanted to land one more Obliterate before he went in. And there's that Unstoppable we were talking about. And Akira actually takes the opportunity to go back in. Good damage from Albino Spino. He's got a fully stacked shield ready for him pretty soon as well. So still thinks he can fight it out. There goes the Death Realm. He's got the shield coming pretty soon. Akira Howe has not gone all out. He uses it, but it's too little too late. Albino Spino with the solo kill.
Yep. Great play there by Albino Spino. Just, you know, peppering them on up with them obliterates. It's much like a good steak for a meal. You gotta massage. Well, you gotta mince the meat first. You don't really massage it. I guess. Let's not get into cooking technicalities here, because we let Albino Spino cook in the top lane and get solo kills.
He's cooking all right. He gets himself the advantage in the level 1 fight off the back of a well-placed E. He gets himself the advantage in the one-on-one off of a well-timed solo kill. And now Cross, he is looking to return to the scene of the crime once again. Captor is here this time. Flash away from Sora. Enchanted Crystal Arrow doesn't land, and they're looking to focus down the little Amumu. They know the shutdown is coming through. There's going to be the cease and desist used onto Meals. They want a double kill out of this one, and Sora gets the kill onto Jace. Cross, though, he's made it far enough away. He will be able to escape, but this is a great use of the Rift Herald. Sora going to look to propel himself back into the game.
So there's no minion wave here right now. So maybe a little bit early. Just able to get those 2 plates. Still great progress on that turret, and that Curse of the Sad Mummy not being up was a huge deal there. Valantis, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, not hitting as well. Meaning Sora just able to EQ to their heart's desire. They're able to get one for themselves and some decent change from that turret plane and get some more mileage here in the spot lane, because when Leo is alone, it means those Mantra Qs and those piercing arrows just gonna be adding up and forcing you back here.
Yeah, that's the thing about these 10-year-old champions, Gofrino, is some of their ultimates have cooldowns, and Cross not having that one up in time means that it is going to be a fight win for Sora and Captor. It means that this Rise is back into the game. It means that the gold is almost even now.
Yeah, I like how you said like some of these like super old champions actually have ulti cooldowns when there's
like
this
not
Ash in the game. Like,
oh, and then
you just
as we say it,
okay, wrong axis. Yeah. I mean, it works from that axis too, but it's just so much easier when you just do it from base.
For sure, yeah. Ezreal's 10 years old too. His ult's pretty low on the cooldown department as well as Captor getting engaged on by Cross, but Cross might be up a little far here. As the backup though.
He gets the teleport. Oh, the teleports. Wait.
Yeah, but Albino Spino so far away here does have the Death Realm to keep himself alive for a little bit. He throws it down onto Captor, who is just going to be looking to buy time here. He's hiding out in the red
all
pit.
Alone, though.
He has no teammates. As soon as he comes out, he dives back to them with the Vault Breaker, but is going to end up going down. Flash forward, Curse of the Sad Mummy, and that's 2 more kills to Primal Instinct Masters. They take that fight 3-0.
Go for Dragon here. You got the 3-0. Grab the Dragon. You'll be up 2-0 in these stacks. And it looked a little dicey at the start for him. Not gonna lie here, Gordo. I thought, okay, Valantis probably just gets blown up by Sora pressing that EQ. We saw Albino Spino just teleporting into the back line with like basically 5 people waiting for them to come on in. But it works out because you got that Death Realm. You're able to just solo out that Vi. Captor not really able to do too much, and great Amumu ulti on the back end there from Cross. The Curse of Sad Mummy. Really just help them seal the deal.
Yeah, and kind of showing, I think, a little bit there, you know, with how this early game has gone, TDK is actually pretty low on damage. The Vi not really snowballing, not able to really pump out the damage, especially when he gets ulted by Albino Spino. No good all-out angles from Akira means that he can't deal the damage. Rise is behind, and it's Poke Varus, so doesn't really have the power and the DPS to take a whole team fight. So looking to try to turn some of this around. Albino Spino getting focused down. He doesn't have the ultimate available. Enchanted Crystal Arrow not going to land onto anybody. He's just getting pushed and shoved all around the top lane. And a shutdown going to come through for Captor.
Yep, no shield coming out. I mean, the result would have been the same. Great counter pickups there. And even with the massive fight wins from Primal Instinct Masters, his game is basically dead even when you look at the naked gold. Yes, there is some extra invisible gold from those 2 dragons here, but all things considered, that's not going to make or break the game here. Really, it's anyone's game. And if Pim wants to come back into this series, they really want to put the pedal to the metal here, Gordo. Maybe at the next dragon fight, probably a little bit before it. Get yourself on that slow point here, have that extra win con, and just extra stats in the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, the push coming through in mid lane. They do have access to that Rift Herald, so they can try to just throw another one down mid and take the turret purely off of Rift Herald damage. That was where they threw their first one as well so far. Meals has done a good job of keeping the wave pushed out, but it just doesn't mean much up against the big Void Crab. And as you said, yeah, that first turret gold for TDK, Cross, getting them back into this a little bit as well. Cross sees vital, but does not commit to the play.
Yeah, I didn't have enough information there, not wanting to fully commit. A little bit calm here. We got 2.5 minutes till the next dragon comes up. We got 2.5 minutes till the Baron comes up, because that was the second child. So all is quiet on Western Summoner's Rift. That analogy made no sense whatsoever, but hey.
You could call the blue buff, the blue side blue buff, like Western Summoner's Rift. You know, it's left most. That's kind of, you know, if we assume that the top is north, then that area is where the west would be.
I mean, I meant more so in like the tone, because it's like, this isn't like a doom and gloom, like, yeah, things are terrible fest.
Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands on a rule this time, but you know, you can block Mystic shots, so not going to be a good chance to follow up on it.
Yeah, there's no True Shot Barrage. No one else to really follow up on it, but just ult mid, bro. It's that easy.
Yeah, not quite the follow-up power that TDK had in game number 1 for this Ashe. Spino looking for an option up against Akira Howe. Has the teammates at his back. Valentis is here, but with no Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so probably can't do too much here.
It's probably a little under 20 seconds away. And just look at that cooldown go down. This is with what? 20 ability haste, I want to say? Ultimate Hunter's probably factoring into this, but yeah.
Yep, for sure here. And something else to note here is Sora has gone for the Ghost instead of the Teleport, so not going to be as mobile around the map without Realm Warp opportunities. That's going to become relevant as Meals does have that TP advantage. So you can see, like, just now, Meals is in bottom lane. Sora has to go down to match, and now Meals could end up anywhere. It doesn't really have an impact on this particular play, but there's going to be moments like that throughout the game that could give Pim the angle to take fights in uneven numbers.
Like if they happen to do this push right before Dragon. Well, okay, it's probably too late to do it before Dragon, but definitely when it comes to Baron setup, this lack of teleport ability knows. Yes, you have the Realm Warp, but that's not global.
Not.
It's got some good range, don't get me wrong. But it's not global. It's not going to take you from bot lane all the way up to Baron.
Certainly isn't. There's the second Rift Herald in mid. Doesn't quite take out the turret. If Sora had gotten just a couple more autos in there earlier in the game, maybe. But has not worked out that way, but it does give them control over the bottom river. It does give them mid priority, and it does give them the chance to try to take this third dragon. They do want to stop the stacking. Cross getting a little engaged on,
Alley-oop.
goes back in onto Captor. There's Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but Captor, he's a tanky guy. They
They are
don't get the
grouping up.
chance to follow back on in.
Okay.
The front line is well set up, and now they're going to just try to layer down the
There's
damage.
the
Sora
Death
throwing
Realm.
out the E's and Q's, seeing what he can get in there. There's the Vault Breaker onto the team. Flash
Beautiful.
forward, Curse of the Sad Mummy onto the whole team, and that's a great play from Cross. But can they stop this Cassante and the rest of the squad? Albino Spino is thrown down the Death Realm on top of Raul, and he's going
got
to
the
take him
stats,
out. But
baby.
Akira Howe is finished off on Cross on the backside. Albino Spino leading the charge forward, gets taken out by Vital. Flash forward with the volley from Valentis to take out Sora, but Akira is popping off on this Cassante before finally being shut down by Meals. It ends up being a 4-for-3 team fight that is won by Pim. Vital probably cannot stop this dragon on his own, but that might not stop him from trying.
Yeah, can at least send out the Mondra Q, but god damn, that was a very
Oh!
okay. 5-for-3.
Meals
They did at least have
snipes
knowledge
him.
of like where roughly Vital was because of that Scryer's Bloom, but that's still a pretty damn good shot. I mean, credits to Meals there. Having a much better time this time around. 5-for-3. You're now sitting on that soul point. This is how Pim wanted to be going right now. Didn't blow up the gold lead quite like how they wanted because that was such a close fight, but you're sitting on soul point. You further your gold lead a little bit. You got a 4-2 Jace now, 2-0 on the Ezreal. You're feeling nice. You're feeling dandy even.
Absolutely here, and shown in that last fight, Cassante is dangerous, man. Very close to being able to carry that fight is Akira Howe. He gets himself the important kill on a Cross, fights back up against Albino Spino as well, but the damage dealers are taken out by Pim, and that's what allows them to solidify that fight. Raul getting taken out in the Death Realm was huge for that team fight to work out the way it had. The Varus has so much gold on him, has had the farm advantage throughout the game, and they really need Raul to be able to pull off these team fights to be able to take out the W.
Because you really want to get some poke down here to wither down the Mordekaiser from Albino Spino and crosses a Mumu. Comes in insanely handy. Because outside of Varus, outside of Rise, Team Death Knight's Oblivion, not the highest damage composition. You got that mixed Radiant Virtue vibe that we have been seeing a lot more of. Cassante's Cassante, so. Oh.
No, just
There's
trying
the
to
arrow.
force onto Sora here. Good damage out of Meals and Valentis. They don't manage to take him out all the way. And now
Ooh,
Captor
good shot.
sees an opportunity, saw the damage that went in onto that Jace, and
wanna
he
go
wants to
for
take
this,
this
though.
fight. Albino Spino is here, though. We'll have the Death Realm pretty soon. Vital is there just to try to guarantee that they'll be able to escape, but this is a winning fight for Pim. They've done so much more damage. Raul coming in on the flank, but he's going to get collapsed on here. He's got members all over the place, flashes over the Baron wall, and manages to stay alive as a result, but Meals with the Shock Blast snipe, looking for Sora, fires it out, lands it, and there's going to be the rampage for the Pim mid laner, and Raul now getting chased down by Albino Spino. There's the Death Realm. This is going to be the other carry for TDK, hitting the floor, and Primal Instinct Masters, they are on the board, 5 versus 3, starting up the Baron.
There should be a pickup here. Akira not leaving the bot lane, recognizing, yeah, so there's a bit of an L. I don't think we'll be able to turn this one around, and Baron picked up here by Primal Instinct Masters. Sitting very well in this game. Gonna be looking to really just further this gold lead right now.
Yeah, for sure here. Sora up a little bit too far. Him and Captor think that they can get that push on the top lane, and technically they can. They do get the outer turret, but they lose multiple members for it. Raul going for that deep flank finds himself caught out of position as well, and they give up a whole lot more than they get in the form of that Baron.
Yeah, you lose top lane outer for Baron and 2 kills. I'd say that's pretty worthwhile. And you'll have this Baron buff around for the next dragon, the Soul Point. So that's going to give you just so much power into this next minute and a half. Crack down some turrets, get a lot of extra gold for that next fight. But then also you'll still have that Baron buff to buff up these minions and make sure you have Prio in these lanes. Just so you have that extra vision. Oh, okay, a bit of a field goal. Don't know if it's Super Bowl Sunday. Flash on out, cease and desist.
Looking to focus down Meals here. They've got Akira How for the backup, and they should have the damage here. All out, not even needed. That's an 800 gold shutdown into Akira How's pocket, and Albino Spino looking to take the fight, just gets taken over the wall instead, and Akira wants to take his solo kill. He gets it. That's 2 shutdowns into the TDK top laner, and just like that, they're the ones with the 5v3 on the map.
That was a hell of a Hail Mary of an all out there. That's 2 buffs off the table. You got Sora in this top lane pushing on in. Yeah, okay, gonna get some damage on this turret. Shouldn't be able to take it. You got Leah coming on here, but big thing is that Team Death Knight's able to hold the line there. Just stop a lot of this Baron buff push coming out. Yes, there will still be 3 members with this Baron. There will still be push prio, but you won't have people knocking in on your inner turrets or your inhib turrets during the duration of this buff, and it's also going to give you a lot of breathing room as we see on the map. Just drop some vision around this dragon, make sure you got control in that river, and got all those flanks warded.
Yeah, and off those 2 shutdowns, Akira How gets a Thorn Mail to teleport back and rejoin for this upcoming dragon fight. This is soul point for Pim. They are definitely going to want to secure themselves that Mountain Soul. Up against the relatively low damage team comp from TDK, this would work wonders for them here.
Oh, hey, that misses.
The Bandage Toss doesn't land. 2
Forcing their way in.
End up missing. Enchanted Crystal Arrow already used. Cross looks for another one. Doesn't land that Bandage Toss either. That's both stacks used.
Realm Warp, rejoin the squad.
Yeah, it is still a 5-on-5.
Okay,
As they're just dancing back and forth here, looking for that engage opportunity. Pay close attention to the Shock Blast. Pay close attention to Raoul's Chains of Corruption. Could be a big turning point for this fight. There's a big arrow through the squishies. Valentis loses nearly all his HP, and there's the engage from Captor. Dives into the back line and takes out the dragon at the cost of his own life. But look at what Akira has done. That's Dragon Soul picked up for Cross. Now can TDK take the fight on the backside? It's a Cassante trying to fight it out, and he just can't do it. Now Albino Spino with so much sustain. Sora finally flashes forward, finds his chance. It takes out 2 targets, but it's a winning fight for Pim, and they have got themselves a Dragon Soul. Vital facing one-on-one up against Cross. Meals has just gone in for the teleport to get himself as many turrets as he can possibly get with this ace. Soon to be coming through. Vital actually fighting it up against Cross successfully, trying to buy time, making sure that he doesn't lose an inhibitor if at all possible. And it looks like he's even going to be able to get the kill onto Cross. Some nice plays out of the TDK support. Makes it as close as possible. Really a 4-for-4 team fight when all is said and done, but it's Pim that wins that even trade as they get themselves Dragon Soul.
And they knock down the mid lane inhibitor turret. Yes, they aren't able to get an inhibitor. That would have been such a huge boon, but you already took a huge dub by getting that soul and winning the fight. And the fact that that inhibitor is open, any mistake that Team Death Knight's Oblivion makes means that their base is going to immediately be besieged by super minions. Whether it's a game-ending scenario, whether it's just one of those scenarios like, okay, that was a key fight we lost. We're going to be bleeding, but we're going to be bleeding much more terribly than if we didn't have an inhibitor open. So let's see what Pim wants to do with this advantage they have right now. It's not the hugest gold lead, but the fact that you have this soul, especially Mountain Soul.
Another pick on the Valentis. You use 2 ultimates to do it, but they're going to be able to take out the support without much trouble at all. Nice angle there for the cease and desist coming out of Captor.
Yeah, easy pickings there. It doesn't take a lot to kill a Ashe support at this point in the game, especially when you commit 2 ultis like that. Gonna give you some nice time on the map though, as that 5 versus 4. I'm gonna push in this top lane turret a little bit. No threat of an enchanted crystal arrow, but you do have to be worried about the Curse of the Sad Mummy here. The Bandage Toss lands. That's 1. Look for 2.
Yeah, nice dodge by Capture there. Cross does not decide to commit the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Now, gonna be forced away from that top inner turret. TDK, they've done a great job of keeping themselves in the game through objective gold, through taking out turrets, through claiming themselves Rift Heralds, but as the turrets become farther and farther away from home, it's getting more and more difficult here, and they're risking getting themselves picked off, as they nearly do for that top inner turret.
That and the fact that even though the gold is close, like, It is the 4 elemental dragons to 0 and the soul buff as well. So that alone is like, I believe about a 10,000 like hitting goal differential just for those raw stats, and then also the bonuses like that shield from the soul. So it is definitely going to be a little bit more of an uphill battle here for Team Death Knights. They got that low damage composition, well, lowish damage composition, like we pointed out in champions like the early game, and a Mountain Soul's certainly not going to help that.
Sure, here is ooh, a nice 5-man squad finding an angle onto Vital here. They deal some nice damage. An Enchanted
That
Crystal
hit?
Arrow
Okay,
lands. That's a
okay.
kill onto Karma, and that's a kill onto Raul as well. He stays a little too close to his support and just gets blown up for it. Meals with the double kill.
Yeah, that's Baron. Unless we see a Miracle Seal from Cap. That I'm really not counting on that. Yeah, as you can see, there's no vision. Nobody's in the area. I don't even have. I don't think there's any wards down actually for Team Death Knights right now, so you can't really go anywhere. That's Baron picked up. We got Elder Dragon in 2 minutes, so it's gonna be the Baron push show here for a bit once again. Will Team Death Knights though be able to do like they did last time and get some nice key picks to really thwart any Baron pushes?
Yeah, we'll have to see here as they are well and truly in the driver's seat now. They've ballooned this gold lead to quite the respectable one here. Taking out this turret, they will move themselves up to about a 6k gold lead. That Elder Dragon, as you said, coming up soon. That is certainly where potentially game-deciding fight will take place. Raul just getting poked out of the game here. Nice dodge on Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but still going to have to take that recall.
Yeah, no, this is one ability. Keep in mind, Raul level 13 right now, so definitely struggling. You're just so far behind. See how this goes in the mid lane, because you're out of the death realm now.
Yeah, Albino Spino really taking it to Sora there, but now the fight's a little bit less fair. Captor is going to be able to pick up that one, and now that's going to be a top laner down as the dragon spawns. He will have access to that teleport to join the fight, though.
Mm-hmm. It does mean, though, I mean, because we are at those 45-second death timers right now. That means only 2 waves of Baron buff is going to be left after this. Okay, Enchanted Crystal Field Goal coming on out. Super Bowl Sunday coming to Risen Divine.
Here, 30 seconds to go on this Elder, and despite the kill, it's Pim that gets the positional advantage. Their poke damage is just so powerful. They force multiple members to recall, and they're the ones who get to dictate the pace of this dragon fight.
And once again, I mean, there's just no vision. You're walking in blind here. Like, you're getting
Akira
this
Howe.
damage shots.
Yeah, walking in, getting jumped on, going for the unstoppable, trying to push members out, and he is going to successfully take Cross over the other side of the map, but just flashes in and gets himself the Curse of the Sad Mummy, locking down all the members, and the damage just isn't there for TVK. Primal Instinct Masters, they win themselves another fight. They take out the enemy jungler, and they are looking to close out the game. Akira Howe going to be the target, gets pulled back in, and Niels goes godlike. And this 3-man squad, there is just no way they can defend their Nexus against a 5-man Baroned up push from Primal Instinct. They are looking to take us to 3 games here. And in Bonfire, your prediction proven wrong once again. TDK is going to have to play for game number 3 here. Primal Instinct are not going down without a fight.
Yeah, Bonfire gonna be feeling a little less smug on their prediction here. Really, it just kind of started off with that level 1. Getting 2-0 just like that, but then really soon after we saw that gank in the bot lane. Just that early snowballing coming on out, just so huge here for him.
Well, I am feeling a lot less smug. I appreciate you guys getting your nips in now. It is
Hello.
true. I think I was expecting a lot more from TDKO, but PIM, how about that Amumu pick? Just an unbelievable player right there. I really felt like it was one of the most important members. PIM showing that it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's about the size of the fight in the dog. They got that dog in them. They won themselves that
Now,
game, pushing them to a game 3. Gordo and Gofarino, honestly, in that order. Both you guys, I want to hear from you. Are you surprised by this? Was this kind of a surprise result, or do you think PIM has a lot more to show than their 1-2 record?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought TDK were going to be able to end up taking this one. I expected a lot more early pressure to end up coming out of the Vi pick in particular from Captor. Expected him to play around mid, unlock this Rise, and use him as kind of the catalyst for everything. But the early kills end up coming through for Pim, and they're able to just really do a great job of shutting down Sora. They know how critical he was going to be able to get this team comp rolling, and they come up with a huge win for it here. Yeah, they end up falling a little bit behind in the bottom lane, but it's all fine as Cross just finds some fantastic fights there on the Amumu, really showing his experience on the champion, and takes it for Pim.
Well, it's all good in the hood, as they say. Go Farino. We have our first replay ready. I'm going to throw this one over to you. A pretty big fight that ended up being great for PIM.
Yeah, it looks initially a little bit sus for Pim, because I thought that Ash from Volantis was going to get blown up. And you see this teleport, you're literally in 5 people, but it is Mordecai, so you pop the Death Realm, and what do you know? You are fine and dandy. And Pim just really able to just shred through people here. You get this Vi singled out, and what really seals the deal in this fight, look at the Curse of the Sad Mummy coming on through in just a jiffy. Locks up 2 big members here. That really just helps him secure this dragon.
Yeah, Curse of the Sad Mummy feeling more like a blessing for the side of PIM. I think he's got some friends now. I think he was able to make himself some friends. We're gonna have to change the League of Legends lore because after that game, I can't think of a single member of the team that doesn't want to go out on a Friday night with him. He's got himself some buddies, which I think he would very much appreciate. Jace being maybe the top of that list right there. Really good team fight led to a dragon that was not seen, and those dragons ended up stacking, and they kept stacking. They kept forcing these team fights, and I think that's kind of where a lot of this game went to a terrible position for TDKO, because when they have this Amumu and this Jace combo that's so poignant, it's so difficult to team fight. They'd rather just wait in side lane. The Rise, they were getting stuff done in the side lanes, but when they were continuously forced to fight these team fights, it really felt like that was their downfall. Gordo, I want to throw this next replay over to you. This was an ace, kind of. Gordo, bring me through.
Yeah, and this is one of the closer fights, if I recall correctly, as they kind of find an angle on the cross here. Captor thinks he's leading the charge, gets re-engaged on, but they can't really do too much because everything is landing on the front line at first. And once the fight really breaks out in earnest, it's again a great opportunity here for the side of Pim. Cross flashes in, gets the 4-man Curse of the Sad Mummy here, and that's what turns this fight for the side of Primal Instinct. Akira, though, finds a good angle onto the backside, takes out Cross here, and is then ready to rejoin the fight in this all-out form, and really shows the power that the Cassante brings to the table here. Can nearly one-shot Albino Spino here, is ready to clean up on to the side of Valentis as well as soon as it runs on out, but the damage is still available from Meals. He is the most fed member of the team. He manages to stay alive, and Vital just can't do anything to contest this dragon after that. And Meals, with a nice call out here, sees Vital as he clears out the ward and just knows where to shoot.
Yeah, sniper, get down. A delayed ace right there. Ended up being an issue for PIM. And again, it's another dragon fight. And you're starting to sense a little bit of a theme here. When you fight for a dragon TDKO, it's primal, right? They're used to this jungle. They're used to traversing through this. They get themselves another dragon. They get themselves another team fight win, a delayed ace. And at that point, the game was kind of teetering. PIM get themselves another lead through that. And so PIM showing us that they've got a lot more to give in these team fights. Gordo, you broke it down so expertly that you're not leaving me a lot to say. It's so beautiful. But again, I just want to talk about that Amumu. Just a huge ultimate. It feels like in every single one of these replays that we have to break down, it was those ultimates that was propelling his team to the team fight victories. And so this last replay, as we get ready to get it queued up, it's going to be another team fight over a dragon, but arguably the most important dragon to fight over. This was the Soul, and it really felt like this is where the game kind of went over to PIM, because once you lose Mountain Soul, it can really spell disaster. This hook just barely missing Vital. Cross, a really good shot right there, but I think you have to keep an eye on Captor. This was not his game, and instead chooses to go on an ultimate. Now the poke is good from Raul. That I know. It continues to poke out Leo and Meals, able to do a good job of making sure that the health bars aren't there, but it kind of baits Captor in, keep an eye on the Vi right now because the health bars are going to fall down. There's one arrow hit, another arrow is going to hit as well. They're getting chunked, they're getting chunked. Captor sees a possible intro, but this entire time, Cross is just focused on the dragon, and this is Soul. And so Captor goes in on Valentis. He gets a triple knockup. Yeah, a triple knockup along with the ultimate knockup. Immediately gets blown up, however, and Cross has smite advantage. And so it does not really end up mattering at all because then the soul goes over to the side of PIM. A really good job by the rest of the team to salvage this fight. Akira Howe fighting on 3, while Albino Spino is trying to kill Sora. And again, they just regroup perfectly. Sora goes in, is able to get 2, but there's nothing that they can do. Raul trying to dodge as best you can. You cannot dodge well enough, my friend. The rest of this is kind of a little Looney Tunesy, but at the end of
Benny
the day,
Hill.
the Benny Hill music can go as long as you want. They got the soul. They won themselves the game. PIM shown that they have a lot more to give. So really interesting series we've got ourselves. I think we all kind of expected this to be. You know what? I'm going to say we all thought it. Everyone thought a sweep. I wasn't the only one. I can't be solely responsible for the blame. But at the end of the day, we're going to be talking a lot more because there's a game 3. We're going to go to that decider. Does TDKO stay flawless? Can PIM save their series? All that and more just after the break.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where we are going to Game 3 between Primal Instinct Masters and Team Death Knights Obsidian. And, Goverino, I want to say that we couldn't have predicted being here, but TDK, they've gone to 3 games a lot this series, this season, and they definitely got a little shown up by Crosses and Mumu in that game number 2.
And we do have swap sides for this game, so see how that affects things. The Amumu taking off, yeah, I want to deal with that. That's fair. To get a
Yeah,
little bit body by it. I would argue that making a 101 Amumu at level 1 kind of led a little bit to that, but bit of both.
definitely a little bit to be said there, but I mean, also, just the camp mid was really, really successful there from TDK. Has just continued to find angles onto that rise, and they're going to keep the Yone ban as well, so they want to try to force Sora onto something that's a little bit weaker here, something that he's not quite as experienced on, like that Yone, and that seemed to be a recipe for success with him on the rise in game number 2. Curious to see what he'll go for here in this game number 3 that will decide the whole series.
And I wonder if the Ash is taken away this game, because we've seen it both games, like, you don't even need that much ability haste, and then you're just firing out the enchanted crystal arrows left and right. And for both wins we've seen this series, like, it's just been so key because it's a literal global ability. It's very low risk, high reward. Is that taken off the table? No. Is it prioritized though? Because we have seen. Okay,
It
I
is.
called it.
100% win rate champion this series gets locked in for Primal Instinct Masters. What will they respond with for the side of TDK? They don't have the Yone available anymore. They do have access to the Varus. The Varus Karma lane seemed to serve them pretty well, at least in the laning phase of game number 1. Is that going to be what they want to lean towards here in game number 3? That's a Lilia locked on in here for Captor. So not the best vibe performance in game number 2. Decides to go back to Comfort, go back to his AP, hard farm, carry style junglers, and the Lilia is going to be the choice.
Yep, we've seen that taken off the board in the previous 2 games, I believe. What are you going to lock in with it, though? I'm kind of leaning towards something in the bot lane here, but we have seen a high mid prio this series from Team Death Knights Oblivion, so either one of those statements I made could be correct, technically.
True. Is the Tristana lock-in going to come through? We'll see if that ends up being the Tristana lock-in this time for Sora, as it was, in fact, Meals playing that in their first game. Could also be for the bot lane, of course, if Raul wants to end up going for that selection. Now with the Ashe, the Varus is still available. That's the classic duo here if they do want to go for it. Kindred going to be locked in the jungle for Cross. So probably the opposite of the Amumu in a whole bunch of ways. Going to be looking to secure some kills for themselves, get those stacks. And it is going to be Ashe Karma in the bot lane, actually.
So we are going to see Ashe 80 carry for the first time this series. It does put out a fair amount of damage, and you do still have a lot of power in that lane. You just don't see as much as the support Ashe because you don't really build as much ability haste, and it doesn't give you that like insane prio in the bot lane, but it's pretty solid. Okay, the Nas being paired with this, that makes sense. Like, you got the Ashe, the Karma. It's probably against the Tristan on the bot lane here who wants to level 2 all in you. Why not just pick the Nautilus with it? You land a Dredge line, you pop every ability, and drop the Ignite. You should be picking up a kill. Should.
Yeah. Something else I'll call out, just because Ashe is farming does not mean that it's 80 carry Ashe. We have gotten to see some Ashes continue to farm, but still go for that Banner of Command build, the kind of more supportive style coming on across. So that's also an option that is on the table if they do end up deciding to go for it. Could also be solo lane Karma. I mean, I'm still a big solo lane Karma supporter in the top lane. Pretty good this season. There was a period of a couple of days where people were spamming Heartsteel Karma. That was a good time, man. I got a lot of elo off of that Heartsteel Karma top.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing that. But
No,
yeah,
I'm
it's
not.
still an
I don't
option.
think we're gonna be seeing that either. This is support Karma all the way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe mid lane Karma if you really want to flex, but yeah. Just gonna be targeting out the jungle and solo lanes here. Well, top lanes right now. Taking away some big beefy frontliners. You're gonna have to pick something here. You do still technically have the flex option for this Tristana. So if you want, you can lock in the top laner. Here's Team Death Knights and have that flex for last pick. Unless you want to like do like Lilia flex. You don't really see top.
Yeah, no, I don't believe in the Lilia flex. I think that this is probably a solo lane angle here from TDK. They are really running out of time here, though. That's Irelia locked in here blind. So a bold choice for TDK. I gotta believe it just feels like it's something that would be inside Sora's wheelhouse, but I suppose it's a flex pick.
Yeah, very, very team fight heavy comp by the looks of it for Team Death Knights. You got Tristana with resets, you got the Lilia with the potential 5-person lullaby, and then you got the Irelia just zip zap zooming all around. Okay, so it is solo lane Karma. Unless it's solo lane Tarek.
I'm just gonna say I kind of called it here. I mean,
You doubted yourself. That's fake. That's fake. You can't say
uh,
no cap and then cap, bro.
yeah, I
As we
mean,
say on the TikTok.
it is coming out here. The Tarek Ash bot lane is certainly an
Mm.
interesting one. Oh, it's not Karma top though; it's Karma mid. So I still kind of end up being wrong at the end of the day. The Irelia, don't know how it does against the Karma. Is an interesting selection here. Would also be pretty effective up against the Ornn as just a farming option. So we'll see what TDK want to do. If they end up taking, yeah, it looks like it's going to be the Irelia for Akira How. So they're hovering this Galio for Sora. Try to follow up on the engages and give a little bit of a front line in the face of a carry top laner and a carry jungler. And that's going to get locked on in. He's going to be the front line here for the squad.
And him, their comp, very, very just looking for like, hey, we got the double marksman. We have the double like support here to keep them alive. The Tarek Cosmic Radiance is just so good against the Unga Bunga All In from Team Death Knight's Oblivion comp. I mean, literally everyone on Team Death Knight's Oblivion composition wants to jump on top of you, so why not have a giant AoE potential 5-man just invulnerable?
True. And, these are some wild drafts. Let's get Bonfire back in here to talk about them, man.
Guys, I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm supposed to be your rock. I think I'm supposed to provide some clarity to the craziness. And I'm a little bamboozled. These drafts have me scratching the old noggin just a tiny bit. I kind of feel like I fell asleep during the second game, and I'm just dreaming at this point. And I'm gonna wake up, and it's like, yeah, I missed all my classes, and I'm really annoyed with myself. So I hope I'm not asleep. I hope this is real, because if so, I want to see this game. This is very interesting. This is off the walls. I feel like PIM are choosing a little bit of insanity, and TDKO are opting into it. So I got a lot of questions. I'm hoping that you guys can help me out here. The first question is why. The second question, how. Gordo, throw this to you first.
Yeah, why I can't answer for you, but how
Okay.
is something I maybe have a little bit more insight into. I mean, Pim going for a strong team fight composition here. They have multiple sources now of invulnerability between the Kindred ultimate and the Tarek ultimate. So definitely going to be able to brawl for a long time here. And double Enchanter, double ADC, and the Ornn really gives you a lot of scaling power to be able to dish out all the damage you need to in these upcoming team fights. TDK, they have a little bit more pick power here with the Galio. They can try to find options on face checks and things like that. They have Irelia, who's going to be very powerful on her own in the solo lane, and the Tristana for all that burst damage, as well as Lilia for the sleep. So they're maybe a little bit more looking to catch people's unawares, whereas Pim, these guys, they want to group up and they want to fight all day long.
Gordo, thank you. I feel a little bit more at ease. Go Freno, though. I'm still a little nauseous. I gotta ask you, who? And also, Tarek with a big question mark at the end. I feel like that's kind of where I'm standing on that pick.
So I believe the chair came in because Pam just kind of made the call like, okay, it looks like Team Death Knights, they're going for this really heavy all-in comp. Like, they kind of all want to jump on top of you. They're very forward comp. They want to just run at you. jump on you, what have you. So having the counter engage tools, the stalling tools like the Cosmic Radiance is gonna be so good, even if like Team Death Knight's Oblivion, they will have like a lot of consistent damage. Even just blocking off like the initial burst is gonna be so huge for your double marksman to look to just kind of shred through everyone here on Team Death Knights.
All right, well, I'm yawning. It's not because of this draft. I'd like to clarify. It's just getting late at night, and that's where the craziness kind of happens. The witching hour, per se. It feels like kind of that's where things are going. Gofrino's dog is chewing on his cord. Gordo's light looks like it's about to fall on his head. I don't know if I'm asleep or awake, and both of these teams have put the pedal to the metal. Gordo, I'm gonna come back to you. You talked about this blind Aurelia. How strong can the daggers be into this Ornn? Because I think that you like to punish the Ornn early. You want to go into an Ornn with a carry top and try to get a lead there. But you don't really think of Aurelia as bully of tanks. Is this going to be an interesting pick for the side of TDKO, or is it going to backfire?
You would think it's going to be boring for at least a little while. You know, Irelia is just going to be looking to farm up, get her first item or two done before probably going to be doing too much brawling with Mr. Albino Spino up there. But, you know, longer term, though, it really does mean that if this Irelia is in the game, you know, she's getting her items, if she's on pace with the rest of the squad, there's not going to be good answers for her in the side lane 1v1 coming out of the Primal Instinct roster here. You know, they just don't have a lot of chances and a lot of characters who really can go toe to toe with that duelist. And it means that Akira, how you know, if they can play around him very effectively, he could potentially be the recipe for success up against this composition.
Who knew that the real answer to my question of how was Akira? Akira how? That's going to be the how. Uh, so Akira how is going to be how, apparently. Captor is going to try to be the captor. Sora is a name that I cannot pun, and so I will not try to. TDKO have themselves a good comp across the board, one might think. Cole Farino, I'm going to go back to you before we have our final predictions. Meals has made a meal of it these last couple of games. First game, not so good. Second game, very good. On the support Karma, on the mid Karma, what do you expect to see from the mid laner for PIM? Do you think he unleashes his Primal, or do you think it's more of a Chihuahua in the mid lane?
You're just gonna kind of be vibing because you're not really gonna have kill threat onto this Galio. Both these mid laners gonna be playing for the other lanes is gonna be the theme here, which is quite the shakeup because both the previous games we saw both the mid laners in Meals and hi, my dog's right on. I think she wants to go out. Both Meals and Saori kind of just being the main stars of the show, but this time around a little bit more on that support.
Go Farino. I'm feeling like your dog right now. I just want to go out and kind of see where this is gonna what's gonna happen here. Obviously, we still have a little bit of time before we can do so. Gentlemen, in maybe the strangest draft I've seen in quite a while, I'm gonna have to ask you guys to rationalize it and choose a winner. And I'm gonna give you more time because 3 words or less seems harsh with kind of how crazy this is. So I'm gonna be a benevolent God and give you guys 5 words. I know, I'm too kind. Gordo, I'm going to put you on the spotlight, though. So think of your 5 words as I ramble on and waffle on a little bit. And that's all the time you're going to get. Gordo, 5 words or less. What do you expect from this game?
Can't answer Irelia in side lanes one word. Uh,
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
expect Akira Howe to really be able to pull it
Oh,
out here. I think he's going to be a big force. I think he had good performances in both of the games so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing him bring it home on Irelia.
5 words, a little bit of a description, too. We'll let it pass. Like I said, I make the rules here. Go Farino, as you were playing with your very cute dog. 5 words or less. How are you going to describe this game? Because I have no clue what to make of it.
Unga Bunga engage wins.
Punga
Four
Punga
words.
engagements. Hey, 5 words or less. 5 words or less. Truly the
Oh,
scholar there, Gofreno. I'm gonna have to say, Aurelia, Lilia, Galio, Tristana, and Nautilus. Those are my 5 words.
that's
Uh,
6 yet
but you
again.
remove the and. It's an Oxford comma near the end. So those are my 5 words. And I think TDKO, even with a little bit of a stumble, they root themselves back up and they win this series. Guys, I would hate to be you because you have to go into this game and find some clarity in this insanity. I just get to watch back and be a viewer. And yet, I know that you madmen enjoy it, so I'm going to send you on your merry way. When we come back, you guys are going to enjoy what I assume to be a very wild game. Come join us later.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where Primal Instincts Masters and Team Death Knights Obsidian are facing off in game number 3 to see who is going to take the series win. TDK looking to keep their 3-0 alive, move it into a 4-0. Pim want to get themselves up in the standings and get themselves a shot at playoffs by moving up to 2-2.
And Pim looking for the 5-man invade, because we saw game number 1 from Team Death Knights in that bot lane trying to 5-man thing. Then we saw in game number 2 a 5 versus 5 bot lane boogaloo, where Pim definitely coming out on top of that one 2-0. But no aggression this time from Team Death Knights, recognizing, okay, maybe they caught on to our invading tendencies. Let's just take a bit of a chill pill.
Yeah, for sure here. So no 5-man bot this time around, which is a shame. You always do love to see it when they break out, but yeah, TDK probably going to want to reduce that variance here. They feel like, they're the better team coming on in, they're the favored team coming in, and therefore they should try to play this game a little bit more standard. And Pim, they've gone for the same level 1-2 games in a row, so maybe time to change it up just a little bit.
Gotta be extremely calm here. We got two junglers that really want to farm early on. I mean, they can both look for ganks if someone overextends, and you definitely got CC in some lanes to make it happen. But for the most part, I feel like Captor and Cross just gonna be looking to hit those levels, get those marks, get those camps, you know, and be on their fine and dandy scaling way.
Yeah, for sure here. My eyes are going to be on this bot lane, though. I think Rahul and Vital, they could go for something a little aggressive in this bot lane 2v2 with the one they've drafted for themselves here. Agree, it's going to be a little bit calmer across the rest of the board that way. Looks like full clears coming out of both junglers. They are both moving towards the top side. They might meet for Scuttle Crab. You know, that's always a possibility.
Yeah. Oh, and it is a kindred game, so we have to flip a coin and see which Scuttle Crab spawns with the mark. I think it is a little bit biased towards the one you're closest to. Don't quote me on that because I am not fully familiar with kindred mark mechanics. Okay, a little bit of an extension here. Good Dazzling Gleam. Got a big minion wave though.
Yeah, Cross coming in with Vital and roll up too hard. It is going to be first blood picked up for Cross there. Nicely played by the Primal Instinct jungler. Gets themselves on the board very early on.
But what about the mark from the Scuttle? Yeah, first blood. Really worth it there. Great Dazzling Gleam to set up that gank. Vital, of course, going for the Glacial Augment and not the Aftershock as we see so often nowadays. Doesn't give you that extra tankiness. And just able to drop there from the combined onslaught of 3 members. And my sneeze killed that Nautilus.
Yeah, bless you there. Go for Eno as Mark did spawn on the bottom here, and Captor making a beeline for it. Wants to see if he can secure it for himself. Ooh, Justice Punch almost lands on Emil's. The taunt will. Captor, can he follow up in time? Does have the Watch Out Eep coming up here pretty soon, but not going to be able to follow it up on Emil's. But the very least will try to secure this Scuttle Crab, and they're all dogpiling on it. They want to make sure they're going to be able to secure that one.
Joke's on you because Cross is on the other side of the map, baby. Let's see if we see a bit of a loop-de-loop around here in the mid lane. Meals does have Flash, so does Vital, so nothing's gonna happen by the looks of the mini-map. Don't think anything really happens in the top side either, unless Akira decides to go a little bit too sicko mode for their own good.
Yeah, dashes in, dashes out, and here's the lockdown. Nice knockup from Albino Spino. Flash under the turret from Cross, but now the turnaround from Akira. Wants to get the kill back, will be able to do so. Nicely played by Akira. Reduces the damage from the incoming Kindred E and is going to be able to stay alive.
Yep, able to dodge out on that third mark. But you still do put this Irelia just a little bit further behind. Gonna have to expend that teleport to get back to lane, stop the scaling of this pick, but also you got another kill onto this Kindred, and Kindred scales really well. Biggest issue is you haven't got that first mark quite yet, and you are still very heavily dependent on those marks, don't get me wrong, but hey, 2-in-1, you got pickaxe, double longswords, you're gonna be hurting quite a bit here for these ganks.
Sure, here does accelerate Akira House Irelia as well, though, so definitely some good and some bad in there. Captor continues to counter jungle at every opportunity as well, knowing where Cross is. Can he lock it down? Nah, Cross is going to dash in and smite away the big bird. Gets himself at least the snacks for his jungle monster.
And also the big chunk of change, since gold is very heavily focused on the big one there. So, yeah. I think it's just going to be taking a little bit of chill here. Maybe I talked too soon because Cross is in the area here. Dazzling Gleam does not land though because of that rocket jump. So no gank to happen.
Yep. No gank indeed. Just looking to freeze this in bottom. Nicely set up by Leo and Valentis here. Will give themselves some quality time with the minions, but is an opportunity for Captor and Sko to start on up this dragon. Looks like they will be able to secure it for themselves here. No real contest coming through from Pim. They are, in fact, sending Cross up towards the top side just to keep farming up.
Yeah. And gonna be a nice little early game boost here. This is also very early first dragon. So if Team Death Knight's able to get the ball rolling, get the next dragon basically on spawn or a little bit after, they can look towards an early soul here. And that's always a good win con to have in the back of your pocket. Okay, call the Forge God and the Ignite.
Kira doing as much as he can to minimize the damage. Throws out the Vanguard's Edge as well, just to slow down Albino Spino's slow trudge towards him. And it looks like that is going to be enough to keep this Irelia safe. Gets some nice damage back onto Albino and just stays alive.
There's no mana here for this Irelia. So Akira can just get jumped on here. It is very low health bar here, though, for Albino Spino. And no Lamb's Respite. Ooh. One of you's getting murked here.
Yeah, maybe even both, as Captor's got the deep flank with Vital coming in as well. Here's the hero's entrance from Sora, and they are going to be able to pick themselves both of these kills. One to Raul, one to Sora, 2 kills for TDK.
And that is a pretty huge pickup. Funnily enough, Valentis, I think, could have actually gotten out of that if they just kept channeling the recall, but obviously, like, oh, they're all coming here. They probably see us, so we got that observer hindsight. Okay, Lilting Lullaby. This should be a kill.
Yeah, Meal's got nowhere to go. Nice hold on the taunt there from Sora to make sure, watch out, Eep finds its mark, and Captor is going to be able to secure another kill there for the side of Sora. 2 to 4 on the scoreboard. TDK off to a nice start here.
Yep. Even though there was that early 2-1 lead here in kills, TDK able to bounce back. They grab themselves that dragon. They grab themselves some response kills. And I believe that Cross hasn't got a single mark yet because that bot lane scuttle, the last one, was the first mark again. So
yeah, I see 0 marks of the Kindred on this
rough.
Kindred.
Because the scuttles are designed to be, you know, just gimmies, but I haven't had too much luck with that. So you're relying on the scaling from this gold. It should be on this top one as well. The flash on the bot lane, because that's the next one to spawn, and the system recognizes, hey, Cross is Kindred. You ain't got any marks. We gotta soup up your ride. Okay. We're saucing the pepperoni here.
Ooh, stepping up. Nice dazzling gleam there out of Valentis. Gets some good damage on a Rule, even though he does successfully buffer it. Kira Howe working towards his Blade of the Ruined King. Once he gets that one done, we'll be in a better position to really start to actually brawl up against this Ornn. As of yet, has mostly just been farming it up, and thankful that he was able to pick up that kill when he did, rather than get even further shut out.
Okay. Scuttle Mark spawned again, but TDK, they're the ones on their way immediately.
Yeah, this is kind of the thing. Like, if you're looking to become an expert in beating opposing Kindreds, something you can do is, if you know that the Kindred has no marks, you know that the next mark is always going to spawn on the Scuttle Crab. So if you just set up for the Scuttle Crabs constantly, you can just keep denying Cross from ever really getting a mark.
Yeah, because you can't even get marks from, like, dragons or heralds or any stolen camps, because you aren't at that threshold yet. You can still get marks, but your mark has been on Captor. That is the tradition, because...
Yeah, I do believe you can break the curse if you get the mark on Captor. Then you'll have at least 1 mark, and then it'll start spawning on enemy camps.
You do have the cracking completed, though, so... You know, that's a big deal.
You can look on the bright side, for sure.
And there's less than a minute till dragon, and there's plates up, so you can look to get a mark around that dragon, because next scuttle will be spawning around that dragon, so, you know.
Ooh. True. About 30 seconds to go on that dragon. Recalls coming through from TDK. You gotta believe they're gonna want to keep that stack going.
Okay. Yeah, no spawn marker on the map just yet for that bot lane scuttle, so...
Oh, it is actually the Moonstone Renewer for meals. Don't see that too often these days.
A little bit of a throwback. I mean, it makes sense because you have this double marksman composition, so why not keep them alive? Look for the lullaby. There it goes.
Nice sleep there, landed onto the Kindred, and can Cross escape from this? Captor Doesn't get the detonate damage off of the Lilting Lullaby. The re-engage, though, from Vital just pulls on in Meals, and they just
too late.
destroy him. Raul's going down as there's going to be the end of the Cosmic Radiance. They're trying to focus down all the
That's
targets
the
they
mark.
can. There's the Lamb's Respite, but now they're all going to be there for the stun. They're all bunched up. Sora sets
Oh,
him
it's
up,
Reset
and Raul
City.
knocks him down, as this is going to be a triple kill to the TDK AD carry, and they're going to pick themselves up the dragon as well.
And that's the thing with standing in the Lamb's Respite, you kind of just bunch yourself up for that huge out of Duranton coming on through, and that is a huge win here for TDK. Now up about 3.5k, they're looking to get their second dragon. You got backup here.
Oh, Akira
Oh.
knows he's not going to be able to escape on foot, just chooses to take the fight. Don't think he's going to escape this way either, though. Meals picks up the kill.
But you are at a very healthy lead, and can look to even force the Sol Wincon here if things go south. So TDK, they're feeling fine and dandy, and it's kind of just showing like they have a lot of ways to pull the trigger with their composition and dictate when the hell these fights start off.
Yeah, as big gold lead for TDK now. So they are back in the mix versus compared to last game. They were behind on the back foot pretty much the whole time. Akira Howe has gotten himself quite a bit of farm as well. Is up ahead in gold over Albino Spino. Still going to be my lane to watch as he starts to be able to take the one-on-ones up against this Ornn. But yeah, Raul is also just catapulted ahead of the pace of the game. He's going to be a menace.
Yeah, 5-0 and 2, you know, kind of a big deal.
It is.
And it's gonna really be on Pim to just kind of slow down this game a little bit here. It's not completely out of your control. You can look to get some things going for you. Flawless Duet. Where's the mark?
Yeah, Akira getting engaged on here. Nice dodge out on the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Now just trying to keep this fight going as he knows Captor and Vital are coming in on the wings. Cross will eventually take out that kill, but what can
Ooh,
Captor
flash
clean
is
up
not-
here? There's going to be one more kill. Picked up off the back of the Lilting Lullaby, and he should be able to chase down Albino Spino as well. The ultimate from Vital actually going to end up stealing that one away, as now Vital has to try to get himself out of dodge. But Sora has arrived to the party. Vital flashes into the bush and comes back out with a hook to pick himself up. The double kill as Valentis is getting chased under the turret. Captor's gonna pick that one up off the Dream Dust, and that is going to be 4 more kills to TDK Obsidian.
And Prime Instinct Masters, they're the ones who started that off, and it looked pretty solid. I mean, it's a standard gank, you know, 2 versus 1, then all of a sudden it's 2 versus 2, then 3 versus 3. You know, it went south really fast for Pim here, there, and Team Death Knight's just really on top. They kind of got the read on their opponent, and the fact that you have this Galio that can just fly on in from whenever, clear that mid lane and walk up, and then of course you have this very now fed Lilia. They've gone pretty damn well for you.
Yeah, a lot of dreams coming through there from Captor in that fight as he gets himself into that elite category alongside Sora and Raul as far as champions that are way ahead of where they should be at this point in the game. Going to continue to do that by picking up this Rift Herald, and it looks like Albino Spino going to get locked down here again, trying to escape out through the river, but he just finds himself face to face with some of the wildlife down there. Is Akira Howe going to be the one who closes out the kill?
Yeah, 3 versus 1. Albino's not making it out of that one, and his game starting to spiral more and more out of control. We see the objective bounties up on the board. And Pim really want to collect some of these shutdowns across the board. I mean, okay. Second mark, I believe.
Yep.
Maybe third.
Cross. Finally getting himself some marks, but it's at the cost of getting a foothold in this game for the side of Primal Instinct Masters. See if they can end up making it make a difference. Has the most gold on their team by a lot. Does Cross. They're going to have to find some crazy angles in these fights.
Yeah, because that's the thing with Pim's comp. They don't really have a lot of agency here. Yeah, you technically have Engage here. You have the Ornn Horn. You have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. you have flash dazzling like sometimes, but you don't really have follow up for it. Your comp is kind of designed to be like, hey, you guys are engaging on us. We have these double marksmen that will out damage you in the long run. So here are the tools to make sure that we thwart your dive. But it means they don't really have tools to go. Okay, I'll hold that thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Meals getting dove again here. 1 versus 3. Nowhere to go. Captor picks up that kill. He goes on a killing spree, and this is going to be more outer turrets into the pockets of TDK.
Just another easy peasy pickup. Right before the dragon, too. That's gonna put him on that soul point.
Definitely. Well, Captor lands the swirl seed. Will that be enough to pop the ultimate? Looks like not. Don't feel like they have enough backup here. Akira House teleport not quite up yet, but will be up here pretty soon. There's Enchanted Crystalero. It lands on a Captor trying to escape. Nice use of the little mini dash he gets there on Eep. Sora comes over with the heroic entrance as well. Cross is just not dissuaded here at all. The teleport now being channeled by Albino Spinal. They want to take this fight. Akira How going for the recall before the teleport. Now can finally rejoin, but it's too late for Raul, who's already dropped. Cross stays alive thanks to the Lamb's Respite, but now it is going to be a 5 versus 4. Akira How has joined the play, though. They are not willing to give up this dragon with or without their Tristana. They still want to take the fight. Flank coming in from Vital as he ends up looking for the dredge line. Is going to be able to land it onto Leo. They're trying to focus down on this Taric, but there's going to be the Cosmic Radiance to stay alive. A great ultimate from Akira How, though. Dives into the back line, picks up 3 kills with the assistance of Captor, and they are just going to run through the squad of Primal Instinct. Double kill already to Akira. Make that a triple, and they get themselves onto Soul Point in a 4 versus 5.
And I mean, Pim, they initially won that. They're able to get that huge pick, that huge shutdown. You got that 5 versus 4 advantage, but like, Capture's just abilities, those seeds, those blooming blows, they just really melt through these health bars here, and they are not able to take down the dragon fast enough. They just get melted. I was even watching like Leo on the back line there. They're free firing, and it just wasn't enough damage to get through the Nautilus plus Galio combo.
Yeah, for sure here. You know, they're a little bit of a tanky squad here on TDK. They got a lot of innate tankiness between Lilia and Irelia and Galio and Nautilus. And especially when Akira How gets the opportunity to cook there, just dives through every single member, gets plenty of procs there off the Vanguard's edge, and cannot be slowed down by anything. The damage between this Irelia and the Lilia more than makes up for the missing Tristana.
Yeah. That is like your main lockdown for the Lilia and Irelia just jumping on top of you. That Enchanted Crystal Arrow, they call it the Forge God. They were down, so you're really just relying on Volantis's Dazzling Gleam there. And with how mobile those champions are and how telegraphed the Dazzling Gleam is, you're able to dance around it pretty damn easily. That's a good ulti.
Yeah, Enchanted Crystal Arrow on a capture. Here comes the teleport in, and that's going to be the shutdown picked up for Cross. Nice bit of gold back into the Kindred here for Primal Instinct. And they're making a move towards Baron. They know how far behind they are and that they have to make a desperate move. They know Akira's bottom as well. So this is going to be a 5 versus 3 for the side of Pim.
You got your 2 marksmen on this. There's the hook.
Locking down onto Valentis. Valentis nearly dead, dies to the Baron damage. Now it's a 4 versus 3. Flash in from Vital to throw down the depth charge and focus down Cross. They're forced to back away from the Baron, but it's not before Albino. Spino gets pulled in by the depth charge. Now heroic entrance just to create a little bit more space for Raul, and they're forced to back away. Meanwhile, Akira How has been pushing in the bottom lane this whole time. TDK 3 versus 5 make a successful stand and stop the Baron.
It was a Hail Mary, but the lack of just like follow-up here from Pim's comp means that how do you get on top of this Tristana if that Enchanted Crystalera is down, if that Call of the Forge God is down? Like, you don't. And it just kind of bites them in the ass there. Puts them in an even worse spot, but they did at least try, and they had to try something. So might as well do it off the back of the pick while it is a 5 versus 4 on the map.
Yeah, for sure here, but does mean TDK Obsidian, they are going to pick themselves up the Baron, and they are now on the verge of being able to close this one out. They've already got the bot lane inhibitor secured. It's just going to take one more fight, and that fight is likely going to be over this Dragon Soul in just a couple of minutes.
And fight might be like the technical term, but with the current gold situation, it might be a little bit more like a slaughter. Might have to get my boy the Geneva Conventions in on this to get the verdict in. They're the ones with definitions when it comes to war crimes. I don't know if Summoner's Rift has war crimes.
It's kind of everything goes on Summoner's Rift most of the time here, but I feel you. Some of these guys committing
Except
acts
for
that
using a weapon. That's
Yeah.
against the rules.
some of these guys committing acts deemed heinous by the international community and facing no repercussions for it. They are going to just keep sieging on to this mid-inner turret, working their way through. And Cross, he is the man to look at for the side of Primal Instinct if they are going to be able to come back into this. But he's been at best able to trade 1-for-1 in a lot of these fights. He's going to have to find some kind of crazy situation where he can get multiple kills, can lay down the Lamb's Respite to keep the fight going longer, and actually find a way to have Primal Instinct make a stand.
Okay, you got the root.
That's
There's
fighting up
Vanguard
against
red.
Kira Howe. You gotta wonder if this is the choice. This guy is willing to 1v2 you all day, every day. Underneath the turret, gets locked down by Meals. Will be a 1-for-1, but it's at the cost of the base. As the remaining 4 members of TDK, they have just torn this base apart and are now looking to move on to Nexus turrets in the 4 versus 4.
Hail Mary.
Here's the engage from Albino Spino. Not going to be able to get much out of it, though, as it's just going to be the follow-up from Cap to rain in the damage across. There is going to be a Tarek ultimate to keep everybody safe and alive, and that's going to be enough to have them back off. They just want to secure the Dragon Soul, close this one out clean and right.
Yeah, no need to take risks here. Given that it's only 24 minutes into the game, those death timers still kind of low. So, we already got Albino Spinal right back on in it. Grab yourselves the soul. And you don't really have to wait for the next Baron here. You got the soul, you got this massive gold lead. There's 2 inhibitors down. If you want, you just put Akira in one of these 2 pushing lanes, you put the other 4 in one, or you can do 1-3-1 sort of deal. And just kind of work your way on in. You got this Tristana. 2.5 items should just more or less completely destroy any turrets. Raul.
Yeah, definitely should. Heroes. Akira House found Cross again. Lamb's Respite thrown down here. There's Enchanted Crystal Arrow landing. Can they turn it back around on this Irelia? It looks like they can. Akira Howe can't get the job done, and Cross gets himself another kill. 5 versus 4 on the map for Pim.
Ooh, 2 stacks now. Ooh.
It's a short-range Kindred, man.
Yeah, I got them T-Rex arms. Little, spicy little grabbers.
Absolutely here. Ooh, the lockdown on the Meals. Will they be able to follow it up? Looks like no. Akira Howe will have teleport when he respawns in 15 seconds, but it might not even be waiting that long for the side of TDK. Here's the flank out of Albino Spino, locking down Captor. There's the flash in. Raul is going to be the next target. Just rocket jumps away. And the fight, it's going the way of TDK. Put multiple members to sleep. Here's the teleport from Akira Howe, and this could be it. Raul takes out Valentis, starts rocket jumping forward. Double kill picked up. That's going to be the triple. The Penta's already been stolen away by Akira, but it's going to be a game win nonetheless. TDK Obsidian are going to move themselves up to 4-0 in the group. Pim drops to 1-3.
Yep, and Pim's chances are looking really, really grim right now. That was an amazing game, too, from them. Don't get me wrong, and it's not like they went out without a fight here, Gordo, but Team Death Knights, I mean, even in the game they lost, they kept it pretty even for the most part. In both games they won, they kind of won pretty handily.
Guys, that was a hard one to watch. It was a lot like game 1. It was a bit of a slaughter. I think we're gonna have to give a call, like you guys, to the Geneva Convention. Kindred just never able to scale, and everything else just went downhill from there. And so a good fight from our friends at PIM, but at the end of the day, if you take a shot at the king, you best not miss. That last game was a bit of a swing and a miss, and three strikes and you're out. How many references can I fit in one saying? That's the real question. Yeah, so TDKO get themselves the win. Death Knights move to 4-0, looking like the dominant group to take down at this point, but they've shown weakness as we've got ourselves a nifty little gold chart right now. Got to give our production some credit there, Caddy. Fantastic work here. And you can really look at the disparity between all of the lanes, can't you, Gordo?
Yeah,
Like,
you definitely can, especially up in that top lane. A 10k gold advantage for Akira alone here. I kept saying, wait until this guy gets an item or two, and he's just going to be unstoppable in those side lanes, and that's exactly how it ends up playing out.
Here at Risen, we do not take our graphics department lightly. This is new. I'm a huge fan of this. Go Farino, I heard you commenting on some of the new things as well. How do you feel about this, and how do you feel about that Lilia damage?
I mean, kind of expected a little bit once we saw that Lilia rolling here, because you can't really catch out this. We saw time and time again, Pim, they tried to catch out this Lilia. You commit the Enchanted Crystal Era. We saw the Horn come out, but then Kelly ulti comes through. You're just out. We outie.
At first, I thought you were saying that this graphic was kind of expected, and I was going to have to agree with that. Caddy goaded for that. But you were right. Everything was kind of expected. Man, how much did we spend on this? All of the Risen bucks going towards these graphics. Caddy just cooking like a mad scientist. Good work all around as we come back to our lovely faces. So you've gotten a kind of a full look at how this game went, but it really was decided by a couple of plays that snowballed this game through. So I do want to bring us to some of these replays when we have a chance. And we do have a chance right now. So go Freno, an ace and a dragon. It's a good way to start the game right here.
And this is the first big fight here in the bot lane. Beautiful Wilting Lullaby to start it on off, and this is technically the first mark of the game here, picked up by this Kindred, but everybody's going all in. This is what happens in theory. You have all these just tools to stop this burst, but that comes out too late. Volantis, yeah, you're able to pick up a kill, but you're now all in the zone here, and Sora more than happy to drop that out of Durand and get that huge taunt off. Reset City for Raul. And yeah, that's just Team Death Knights staying on top of things. They're able to corral people into the Galio pen and really let that Lilia damage add up before the Tristana for Raul. Just able to finish everyone on off.
Yeah, I would say Raul was shooting fish in a barrel, but I think fish have a bit more freedom of movement than the members of PIM there. They were all huddled together, hoping that the big bag monsters were far, far away, but in reality, they were right at their doorsteps. And so after that fight, it really felt like the snowball was well and truly on. And I'm not talking about some Charlie Brown, oh, you hit me in the head snowball. I'm talking about a Nunu and Willem flying down the lane type of snowball. And this game got ugly very quickly. We all saw it, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're a TDKO fan. It really came down to how the team plays came, and it felt like TDKO in this game three threw a curveball down the middle of the strike zone that completely bamboozled PIM. The team comp just coming out in spades. And this next team fight, when we get a chance to look at it, which is right now, Gordo, I want you to break down. I gave Golfrino an ace and a dragon. I'm a communist. I'm going to give you an ace and a dragon too.
Very nice. As a couple end up taking place in this game. It's going to be the engage onto Captor this time, but the heroic entrance worked out great for Sora throughout the whole match as they're able to just create so much space here and prevent the engage from actually happening. It's Pim that's starting this fight, but they can't even exit the dragon or exit their jungle for quite a while here. Eventually, they do get their way out and they do take out Raul. You would think that this is going to be a huge advantage for them as a result, but they actually played this fight out very well from the 4 versus 5 position, and Akira Howe lands a great Vanguard's Edge here to start things off. They've got to wait out the Cosmic Radiance first and foremost, but then they get the engage, they get the fat Vanguard's Edge, and Akira Howe just runs over the rest of the backline here, takes out Cross, takes out the support as well, and are just going to be able to continue to finish off the rest of the members.
Yeah, this fight goes on for quite a while. Meal's trying to get himself away, but my friend, the only karma that you're going to find is in death. There is rebirth. I'm taking a Buddhism class in college, and I actually learned quite a bit. It's one of the main parts of Buddhism. I think nonviolence is as well. So TDKO, bit of a difficult find there. I don't think Buddha's going to be happy with you. But that dragon fight, really good fight. Even with one member down, we're able to continue it on. And so if the 4v5 is going to be successful, this game-winning push certainly would as well. You got to look at it when you're looking at replays. You got to find out how this series ended. It ended on this final push, Caddy. I know you're pushing the buttons as quickly as possible, and so I'm hoping he can get us to it. He's working hard, you know. It's been a long night for Caddy. But he gets us to this final replay. The GOAT himself able to push the buttons very quickly. And again, it's a 45 here. They don't have all the members. I believe someone had fallen just a tiny bit earlier. And so, again, it looks good for the side of PIM, but it's the engage right here. Vital gets onto the Ash. I believe immediately flashes as well. Then there's a double taunt. So, all right, half an engage, but the poke is coming out. Then this orange flank looks so good, but Sora goes in, immediately flashes out. A bit of a theme here from TDKO. Capture fighting Albino Spino on the backside, and then this beautiful lilting lullaby. This is me on my 8 a.m. right here. It gets the first kill. They continue to go in, and Akira Howe, this isn't me at my 8 a.m. I don't bring daggers to class, but Akira Howe brings daggers, and he takes them to class. Shows them that who's really boss. Spino flashes. 'Cause that's all that you can do at this point. A little bit of a dancing as it ticks down. Orn, all gods fall, and he falls right there. So PIM drops to 1 and 3. They showed us some good stuff, but at the end, they could not take down the Kings of Risen at this very moment. And this moves Team Death Knights Obsidian to 4 and 0. We've kept you here long enough. Go Freno, Gordo. Any last words for the audience? Gordo, go first.
I know, great showing there from TDK, and good showing from Primal Instinct as well. I mean, they really showed a lot of that game number 2. Really liked the Amumu play out of them. There's still going to be 3 more weeks. There's still a chance to climb up in those standings, so hope to see what they're going to be able to do in the next few weeks.
Go Freno, any final words for our beautiful viewers?
Thank you, Caddy.
Hey, he put it perfectly himself. We appreciate you guys coming down. Check out our socials. Keep an eye on all of our leagues here at Risen. Keep an eye on me as well as Gordo and Gofrino. We cast quite a bit, and we always enjoy your company. But that'll do it for us tonight. Have a wonderful night. Have a great week, and we hope to see you here next Tuesday.